Good evening, Crimson Tide Nation, and welcome to the 34th edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide Live Call-In Show from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and my partner in crime, Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports, where we go over our take on the latest news and notes on the Crimson Tide with all of you while we take your calls, all right here on Alabama The Voice College Football and the Voice College Football X/Twitter account. And let me tell you something, folks, you're going to be in for a wild ride as we are 86 days away from week 0. But really and truly, most importantly, we're 93 days away until the 2025 Alabama season, which when we get to midnight on Jeffrey's time zone, it will be 92 days until the Alabama season starts against Florida State. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, you pumping me up. Like, you pumping everybody up for the start of next college football season. I mean, it's getting there. I mean, 93 days, 92 days. It's not that far away. Everybody, just enjoy your summer, though. Because once college football comes back, as great as it is, we're all full force with this stuff, especially around here. It takes up a lot of our time. It takes up, a lot of our week. Just games during the week. Weekend is booked. If you're an NFL fan as well, you're watching stuff on Sunday as well. It's a busy time. It's a lot of fun as well. But I can't wait for it to return. But the summer, we got the summer coming up. Hopefully everybody has a great summer. Whatever events you got going on with that, vacations, going to the beach if you live near that, stuff like that. But it's just it's a great time of year. I love the beginning of summer, even though it's hot. The weather's been rough. It's been a lot of rain. It's been a lot of rain all over the country, but at the same time, it's a great time of year, and college football is coming around the corner, and I am excited about it.
Well, I mean, while I wait for my preseason magazine and certain events to happen, I'll be watching that Phineas and Ferb revival while I'm waiting for college football season to start. So it's hey, just got to kill some time somewhere. And we thank Godfather the SEC for the $4.99 super sticker, all right, here on the Voice College Football. We appreciate it very much, good buddy. And everyone, if you got a question for all of us here on Alabama Voice College Football, put it in a super chat. So this way we will get a chance to read it. Alrighty, so we got the YouTube memberships for Alabama at the Voice College Football. For $2.99 a month, you can become a Crimson Faithful member. We'll get a loyalty badge next to your name. And in the comments and in the live chat, custom emoji to use in the comments and the live chat, and you get a member shout out, like our good buddy, the Godfather of the SEC, for example, because he gets a shout out on every show. Why? Because he is a YouTube member of Alabama at the Voice of College Football. For $4.99 a month, you can become a Saban disciple from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, Coach Burks, Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports, Brady Quoto, and Manny Wilson from the Alabama Primetime Live Show. And for $9.99 a month, you can connect on social media with each of us. And you can give out content requests of any kind, and neither rain nor sleet nor snow nor bad weather of any kind, not even the hot weather that's going to make you feel all hot and sweaty, it's not going to stop us. Well, not me anyway, but I mean, it's not going to stop us at Alabama the Voice College for Football from fulfilling your content request, all right here on Alabama at the Voice of College Football. Well, that's not all, folks. We got some stuff cooking as well. But don't worry, it won't make your pockets hurt. We promise you that. Especially not in summertime. Especially not with 4th of July. Not with it being the 249th edition of the United States of America.
Have you saw that commercial, right? That it was, I think it was Johnsonville or something on TV where they were saying the 249th anniversary. It's not 250th. Nope. It's not like a big milestone like that, but it's still a big deal, for it to be the 249th year. Every anniversary is important. It's like in a marriage. It might not be the 5th or the 10th or the 20th, 25th, 30th, whatever, but even the 17th anniversary, it matters. Even the 4th anniversary matters. Every year matters. Because, to get to 250 years, you got to have 249 years of our country's existence. It's a big deal. That's why we celebrate these holidays. Most of the time these days, people just look at these days like, oh, I'm off. I don't have to work. And that's valid. But at the same time, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, all these days have meaning. They're important holidays. It's not just like Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Like those other holidays all have meaning of their own. So definitely, it's something that, it's good to reflect on it, while you're enjoying your day off, hopefully. Some people have to work anyway on days like Memorial Day, but, so it's still a good thing to reflect.
We did mention like the first Memorial Day was on May 30th, 1868. How long has that been on exactly? Tune in on my call on the Paul Feinbaum show tomorrow to find out how long it's been. And we got the Voice of College Football website here, all right here. You got Brooks White, Leanne Herring, Matt Zimick. You even got Ben from the Oregon channel having his little smoke session while writing some articles, man. There you go. It's like a smoke screen, but he's got some great ones. He's got some great articles, man. And you got John D'Animo making that magic, Zoe Bentler, Christopher Shepard, Bobby Murphy, everyone. Alec Keyser from Indiana The Voice College Football, already making that magic on the Indiana The Voice College Football. He is making that magic on the writing team for The Voice College Football. And you got the host directory. You got Alec, Bradley Loomis, Bo Underwood, who has been featured on Back to School Week for 2024 on the Paul Feinbaum Show, has been hosting Georgia Live with our very own Matt Green Tuesday nights. And let me tell you, you're in for a wild ride Tuesday nights with the Georgia boys, Bo and Matt. Hey, who knows? You might see them come on Crimson Tide Live for a future episode. You got Chris Magelo. I got to learn how to pronounce that last name. Good grief. There's us, me and Jeffrey on Alabama Voice College Football. Well, Jeffrey's walking through the forest, getting ready for some top-notch shows, chilling out with the USC boys, the Primetime Live show, the Coliseum Conquest show. Casey Kasler. You got Matthew Lennox from Blogging with the Boys on SB Nation and FSU Wire. And he's also doing Florida State Live Monday nights with Sam Moore. Our guy, Mark Rogers, Levi Stevenson, the Iowa State expert, Ruby Dreyer from Ole Miss at The Voice College Football, who's really making College Game Day look good behind the scenes, Taylor Jones from Auburn Wire, TJ Ronan, the operations manager, who's really making things going, all right here on The Voice College Football, Matthew Miller, Gerald Goodridge, Jordan Binkley, Jordan Bowman, and Tiger Paul Craven, Garrison Gaddy, all of them. Cam Underwood, the State of the U. All right here. What do we have here? We got the channels list for The Voice College Football. If your favorite team is not on here, don't worry. It will be added, and we will definitely find hosts for your favorite team if it's not on this list. Don't you worry. And we got the show list. We got the Nebraska Live College Show, the Michigan College Show with Johnny Olden and TJ, Garrison and Brian on the Ohio State College Show. And Fridays, we always have Maryland Terrapins Live and the College Football Show with Mark Rogers and friends, which, by the way, if you have guest suggestions for Mark Rogers, send them to Mark and he'll get them on over here. The forum discussions with all your favorite teams, all your favorite conferences, all right here. You'll see them, that's for sure. The news articles from Alec, Leanne, and everyone, and much, much more. All righty, so we've got a lot of callers tonight. What is up, Coach Smook? How you doing tonight? What? And we got Burt's. Why, thank you, good buddy. We thank you. And Godfather of the SEC, one of our members, like I said, he gets the shout out every time he comes on in. And we got our first caller tonight. We got Alabama Richie.
How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
Hey, not too bad. Excited to be with everybody. I want to tell you, last week's show was one of the best I've been on in a long time. Will, you guys had me laughing so hard about USC. It was great. I will say this, though. Lincoln Riley, I will say this before I ask you all about something I read on it or listened to on a podcast I told Jackson about. Lincoln Riley to me is a very like one of the guys we listened to is a guy named Crunch Sports Time Advantage Network. He's with us on X, and he had brought up to our attention yesterday. I said it's amazing. I shouted you guys out, and I said to him, I said I want you to understand that Miller Moss was shammed by, or excuse me, I think Lincoln Riley doomed them this past season. He said, "Oh no," he said, "if your quarterback gets benched under Lincoln Riley, you're the problem, not Lincoln Riley." And I said, I don't. I said, what makes you say that? He said, look at the amount of quarterbacks that Lincoln Riley's been able to produce and look at what Miller Moss did. So I wanted to hear what you thought about that, Jeffrey, because I was curious. When I heard it, I was like, that's a different take than what we said.
That is interesting. I mean, that is fair when you look at historically what Lincoln Riley has done with quarterbacks. He's had a ton of success with basically all of them. But at the same time, sometimes, I feel like I can't say in the case of Lincoln Riley, but we've seen coaches kind of stall, like where they're innovative, and when they're like right coming up into the game that of coaching in college football, like they do a fantastic job, and then over time it kind of passes them by. And I'm not saying that's the case with Lincoln Riley, to defend Miller Moss here, but it's more so like you look at what Lincoln Riley did earlier on at Oklahoma, and it was a lot more successful than what you've seen recently with even Caleb Williams. Like, Caleb Williams did really well, but he was insane how well he played under chaos to even do what he did, which isn't really translatable to the NFL. You have to be able to perform better in a sanitized environment, more like just straight up dropping back and throwing the football instead of just running all over the place and finding a guy. I don't know. I just feel like Lincoln Riley's kind of gone downhill himself, right? Like, overall, I think it's partly him, but I don't think Miller Moss was as good as those other guys either that he's coached previously. I don't think so. I mean, we kind of based it off of a bowl game. Yeah, that's what they did. They saw him perform as well as they did against Louisville, and that's why they went with Miller Moss. But I don't know. I mean, I think that it's going to be interesting to see what Lincoln Riley does with future quarterbacks, and if those guys also don't do very well, then I think it is more of a Lincoln Riley problem. Since it is just Miller Moss so far that has struggled, then I can agree with that. I can go with that. But we're going to need more evidence in the future to see if Lincoln Riley still has what it takes to, lead quarterbacks to high success.
Yeah, I mean, the next quarterback class has got Miller in it. If you look at the list of quarterbacks coming out, Cade Klubnik, who else is on there? Noah Fafita from Arizona, my guy from Arizona State, Sam Levitt. Trying to think of who else is on there. One of the guys from Oregon. So yeah, it makes me. Yeah, I agree with that because I said the same thing. I said Lincoln Riley to me is a good head coach because he did it at Oklahoma. They gave him the USC job because they saw what he did at Oklahoma. Now you start asking yourself, maybe this guy isn't the quarterback. Every coach is going to have that guy, though, to me. Like, you're not going to always have the greatest quarterback ever because the play style's different. We saw that at Alabama a few seasons where you're not always going to roll out an A.J. McCarron or a Jalen Hurts or a Tua, or a Bryce Young, someone that is going to get you to where you need to be. Like, we struggled. I've said it multiple shows. We had a couple of years, so Miller Moss may have been that guy, but I was just curious about that take because I heard him say that. I said, might be just Miller Moss was the problem and he didn't perform well. And I don't know, but we'll see. What do you think about that, Jackson?
We'll definitely wait to see what's happening with Lincoln Riley and USC. I mean, I'm kind of like, so far, it feels like Jimbo Fisher vibes. I mean, I'm not saying he's like Jimbo, but if you're having disappointing seasons, then you're in trouble. And you're expected to do much, much more. You ain't even won a near sit bowl. That's a bad look for USC right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting comparison because I know when Jimbo Fisher won the national championship with Jameis Winston back in 2013, like a lot of people are like, hey, like he's a winner, he's a good coach. He goes over to A&M and just does about as average as you can feasibly do. With him, worse than average considering the resources and talent that he had. It was not great at all. His stock just tanked. All I know is like people turned on him in a heartbeat, and I do see a similar thing with Lincoln Riley because even though he didn't win a title, people kind of understood that Oklahoma they're behind some of these elite programs and resources and other things to win at the highest level. So people are like, all right, he's making the playoffs every year. He's doing a good job, but he's falling like a game short, or he just needs more. So it's like going out to USC, he's going to be able to achieve that. And ever since he's gone out there, it's been a lot worse. Like it has been disastrous. The season they had last year was a joke. It's like Clay Helton stuff. It was almost worse than Clay Helton. It was bad, and that should never happen. I know they went to the Big Ten, which I've told USC fans a million times that going over to the Big Ten was not going to be easy for them. And they said I was full crap, basically. But I was like, I'm serious. I think going over to the Big Ten is different. It's a different style of play. You're going to have to recruit differently. It's going to take you some time to just become used to it, get acclimated to the Big Ten. That traveling, a lot of that's different. It's going to take time. And in year one of the Big Ten, they sucked. They were absolutely abysmal. So maybe this year and beyond, they'll get better, and Lincoln Riley can turn this thing around. Regardless of whether Lincoln Riley turns it around, USC with the right coach can win. We know this. So I'm not really worried about USC. I'm just more worried about can Lincoln Riley be the one to do that? Can he get them back to the top of college football? Because right now he just isn't looking so good at all.
Yeah, and the comparison you made on Jimbo Fisher was great because someone brought up to the attention yesterday, and I thought it was a pretty accurate statement. When he won the national championship with Winston at Florida State, they gave him the job at A&M, and they also tied a trophy to the conversation with a line that says national championship with a year with a blank line, and you were supposed to fill in the blank, and they never got the job done. He had that 1 year where we had supposedly the best recruiting class in the country. And next thing you know, half of that team's getting suspended nor kicked off the team for, misconduct and different things. So Jimbo Fisher to me from what they had before with Kevin Sumlin, they could never get over the hump. And that's the thing that I told A&M fans is you're looking for a coach that is going to get you to the promised land. You have the talent, but you don't have a guy that believes in what you're doing in College Station. And I said that about I've said that multiple times. There's always going to be at every program that one coach that you bring in that makes you believe he's the guy and he's not. And I said that about Lincoln Riley as well. Is I like the guy, but if your quarterback fails for you, there's a problem. I thought last week it was his fault, but now I think if this season is the same deal, then maybe you have to start looking at because you're the fall guy. Because you can try to say like I'll go back to Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze sat there on national TV and said that my quarterback couldn't throw worth a darn. I said, well, here's a clue. You never played Walker White, so you're never going to get a chance to really see what that brother proves. All you're doing is looking for Peyton Thorne, or you're looking for another Hank Brown. Why? Because their name, image, and likeness might be decent for what fits your agenda. but your job is to win football games. That's what they paid you to do at Auburn. They paid you because they saw what you brought to Ole Miss with Bo Wallace. They saw what you did with God, I can't think of his name, but the guy that was with the Tennessee Titans for Malik
Malik Willis.
Malik
yeah,
Willis,
Malik
yeah,
Willis.
at
They saw
Liberty.
what they saw what you did with Malik Willis at Liberty. And they're like, okay, after the last season we had with Brian Harsin and Tommy Tuberville and things, we want to see what you bring to the table, and you didn't do it. That you have not proved it yet. And I still believe that they have something. They had one of the best running backs in Jacquez Hunter. I've been a fan of Perry Thompson, but you're not convincing me that after making a statement like that, no, you failed the people. You did not adjust, and that's the sad nature. And you lost all credibility to people. I don't buy that. You've never seen Kalen DeBoer, and you never saw Coach Saban ever do that to anybody. Whether you could place the blame on the quarterback or anything, they never did that. I don't know any coach at Alabama that's ever thrown a player under the bus, because maybe back in the day because they had an ego problem, but recently I've never seen that. I never heard Shula ever do that. That's just the sad deal. But my question is this. There's a new podcast that came out. Have you seen it, Jeffrey? The one on with AJ McCarron and Richardson and Chris Stewart?
I've heard about it, but I haven't listened or watched it yet. If it's started or not.
I got you. Say they were talking about. I asked Jackson before you hopped on the ninth. They were talking about adding a ninth game and getting rid of the SEC championship. What do you think about that? And they were also talking about now this is a year and recent that now you have an actual chance to see a true running back versus Milrow being the running back, so to speak.
I mean, that's interesting on the first point about the 9 games, because I've felt that every conference should play the same amount of conference games. You know, it should be either 8 or it should be 9, because it is dumb. You know, like back when Indiana was trash, which wasn't so long ago, I used to defend them and be like, hey, like Indiana never gets to make a bowl game because they play non-conference games, and like they would go 5-7 all the time, 2-7. It's like if they just had that other garbage non-conference game, they would have gone 6-6, 3-6, like all those, or 2-6 rather, 6-6, 2-6, and like all those ACC teams do. I mean, how many ACC teams have made a bowl game, and even the SEC? But I've kind of trashed the ACC more because their conference isn't very good. But you'll have like Boston College at like 6-6 and 2-6 in the conference, and they didn't do anything. Now the ACC, pardon my memory, have they switched to 9 games, and or is it still 8?
No, the ACC's not switched to 9 games.
It's still 8. That's what I thought. I haven't really paid attention to that in a long time. I just wanted to make sure before I said it wrong. But yeah, they're still at 8. But I mean that league is terrible at the bottom. So it's like you can be a garbage team and make a bowl game very, very easily, and it's a lot harder to do so in the Big Ten. I just don't agree with it being uneven. I think that every conference should play 9. Now, to get rid of the SEC title game, to move to 9 and get rid of that, I don't agree with that. But I see what they're talking about, because a lot of people have said now with the playoffs, it kind of makes the conference championship game not as important anymore. And that is, that has been the issue with expansion. That's been an issue with a lot of these moves recently in college football, is that you're losing the purpose for some of these games. Rivalry games don't matter as much, because again, like is it advantageous for like Clemson and South Carolina, just say they're both ranked 10th, to play each other final game of the season, and the loser of that game misses the playoff, whereas the winner of that game is in. Now, if those two teams just play a crappy non-conference game instead of playing each other, they're both in. So you're losing the purpose for playing these rivalry games, the out-of-conference ones, especially, and you're losing the purpose of even playing tough non-conference games at all, and you're also losing the reason of playing the championship games. It's stupid. I hate all of it. I wish, again, I've been the biggest advocate for things going the way it were before, the way they used to be, but it's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I could see the conference championship games going away because they don't matter as much, but I hope they don't. And then your other point about Milroe and the running game. Yeah. Alabama was not dominant running the ball last year. And it was mostly because they didn't run. The lack of plays that they just, hey, this is a run play. What was kind of astonishing. Like, we knew it was going to change when Saban retired. We knew that, like, things were going to be different. But, yeah, that was a stark difference because we are known for our ground and pound. Even though things were trending toward the passing game, even under Saban with the quartet. We had all those great receivers recently to Bryce, Mac Jones, slinging it everywhere. But at the same time, it's like we still had that back, like a Najee Harris level back that was like, hey, he's still, or Josh Jacobs or whatever. We didn't have that. We or even Brian Robinson. Like we had a back, like somebody legit that was good, who has an NFL career right now, like doing well. And this past season, no one, I don't think anybody's really talking about Jam Miller or Justice Haynes at all. Like no one's really saying anything about it either. Like Haynes got more coverage just because he transferred to Michigan than anything else. But other than that, it's like our run game was not that substantial this past season at all. No, and it needs to be featured more to make the offense a bit more balanced.
Yeah, I hope Grubb figures it out with that regard, because a lot of people said Milroe was the running back, and we didn't have a. That's the thing that I feel like shot us in the foot a little bit, was not having a true running back, because we produced a pretty slew of running backs to make the NFL. Kenyon Drake, Richardson was drafted. Josh Jacobs, you mentioned, the Green Bay, was with the Raiders for a bit. Derrick Henry, Brian Robinson. We produced. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but Jahmyr Gibbs with the Lions. So even though we transferred in from Georgia Tech, we have produced running backs. This past season, it was no shock that our true running back transferred to Michigan. Why? Because we didn't utilize him in the way that we should have used a running back, and I agree with that. It's like Saban's way of running a quarterback and running a running back were completely different. Like, you weren't going to rely on guys like Jake Coker to be a running quarterback, but Karen wasn't a running quarterback. Hurts and Young, to me, were the only two running quarterbacks I could think of in recent season that you could rely on if you needed to. Now, were you going to? Maybe more with Hurts, and that's what you get in the NFL. Young, he could sling the ball, but if he had to get you 2-3 yards because he had a good O-line, that's when he could do it. But this past season, we had a just okay team. So the fact that we didn't have a true running back, now you're going to give it to Milroe and say, hey, you got the legs, you got the speed, you got the arm. Go do your thing out there. And it makes the running backs look a bit like, hey, we've been known for a good running backs university for several seasons, never had one this season. So it'll be interesting. But I like what they said. It's a very good show if you get a chance to listen to it. Hearing AJ's very blunt. I don't know if you've ever listened to him outside of just like being the quarterback, but he'll tell it as it is. And he basically was trashing the way they were, because he was also saying too, he's like, now they're trying so hard to expand this playoff because teams are starting to feel disrespected, like Ole Miss. It's like they made that statement this past season. I said, yeah, but you lost to a Florida team that you should have beat.
And you lost to Kentucky.
That
You were
Kentucky
the only
loss
top.
was a joke. I mean, there's no reason in the world for that.
That's
I feel like what makes the SEC so tough, though, is when you look at teams like Georgia and Alabama the last 6-7 seasons, we've had such great teams. I can think of like 6, 7, 8, 9 games from both teams where we, especially Georgia, sorry, Georgia fans, but where either our team or Georgia played horrid and still won by like 10 because our teams were so great. Whereas you look at a team like Ole Miss. Ole Miss is really good, and they do have a good coach. I'm not afraid to say that Lane Kiffin is a good coach. I don't think he's like the greatest coach ever, but he is a good coach, and he has done very well at a program that doesn't historically win as much as they are doing right now. But Ole Miss does not have the talent or the players. They have a lot of talent now, more than they used to, but they don't have what Bama has to be able to play a garbage game and win. And that is why they lost to Kentucky. Now, we lost to Vandy in Oklahoma this year because new coach, new scheme, some new players, and it just didn't work, and we weren't consistent. That's why. But in the past, especially under Saban, I mean, I've seen it. Like, we would have some wretched games, and we would win. We just would win. It was like you knew we were going to win. Like, yeah, this was a D effort, but we won 21-17, 21-14.
Yeah.
Ole Miss can't do that. South Carolina can't do that. You know, those type programs have to bring their A game every week if they're going to be an 11-win team. Whereas maybe not as much us now, but hopefully we get back there. But a team like Georgia, because Georgia last year should have went 7-5. I don't care what people say. I've said this a million times, and people get mad at me for saying it, say I'm a lunatic. I don't care. Georgia sucked in multiple games last year. The Georgia Tech game, they were trash. That game, they were trash. And Haynes King, that targeting that they didn't call, and he fumbled. He got hit right in the helmet.
Yeah,
that was called. Georgia loses that game. They sucked against Kentucky. They had multiple bad games last year. I'm blanking on another one, but they did not play well at all last year. And yet, what happened? They still made the playoffs.
And they played bad to us. And they played bad to us when it should have been the first half was pretty matched. And in the second half, after that really crazy Ryan Williams catch, it was sort of like after that they fell apart. It's like, yeah. But I want to bring up something real quick. You remember Mark Richt? Remember when he was at Georgia?
He always played the one game and shutting.
Absolutely, Jack. That's what I was getting ready to say. You said it best, brother. Mark Richt reminds me of Kevin Sumlin. I'm going to name a few coaches in the SEC. Kevin Sumlin's one with A&M. The guy before Sam Pittman is another one. The guy before Shane Beamer. You guys were hired at your respected college because they saw something in you. Les Miles, and they're gonna disrespect. I'm not saying LSU has a very good program. They have very good fans, rivalry. They have a good program. They can back up. Being a program. They did the same thing with Hugh Freeze, even though that scam got him. You're hired at a university because you're there to win a championship, and Mark Richt couldn't win that game to get him over the hump. He always blew one game. Kevin Sumlin was the same way. Sam Pittman got shammed by a quarterback with KJ Jefferson, but he still couldn't win. He can't win them the big game. Shane Beamer's getting up there and getting better, but it's definitely not great. But Mark Richt can never do it. Now they bring in Kirby Smart, and this past season was good, but it wasn't great. And now they're getting ready to have another quarterback change in Gunnar Stockton. But I definitely agree with what you mean.
Well, and I think as long as Georgia has Mike Bobo as the offensive coordinator, they're always going to come up short of a net. Like I don't know if they'll get to the net. All right, man. Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't see Georgia getting to a natty as long as Mike Bobo is the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, probably not. I laugh at Kevin Sumlin because that's a name I have not heard in a while. But man, his stint at A&M was like the complete same as Jimbo Fisher's. But he probably, his teams weren't as good. I mean, I like talent-wise, I don't think he had as much as most years as Jimbo because Jimbo had a ridiculous amount of talent. But Kevin Sumlin, he was so average at A&M. And then at Arizona, he didn't have any talent. They sucked. They were terrible. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Well, look at the teams that he had at Houston. Like, he had Casey Keenum, but the important factor was he had Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator.
Which he's better at OC than as a coach. Do not let that man be a head coach.
Exactly. Which coach are you talking about?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was great.
Was he the coach you were talking about, or are you talking about someone else?
Kevin Sumlin was the coach at Houston, and he had Cliff Kingsbury as his OC. Okay. That's what Jackson was referring to. Mm-hmm. I was referring to Kevin Sumlin's garbage stint in Arizona. It still cracks me up. Because I remember Khalil Tate, Mr. October, Mr. like Heisman like guy for like 4 weeks. You remember that guy Jackson? He was
Yeah.
incredible.
He was
And then his
incredible.
career just died and the team fell apart. But he was so good for like 4 weeks. Like, man, I mean, he was incredible.
Well, he was magical with Rich Rod, but then once Rich Rod got accused of being a pervert, he got fired. I mean, it's like, oh, what's gonna happen to Rich Rod? Oh, well, he went to go be a pervert. That's why he's gone.
The Godfather of the SEC said, "What's scary to me is DeBoer can win the Natty with Penix, so we'll see if he can at Bama." I mean, that's fair, but you got to remember too that Washington, it's the same thing. Not as much talent, but he was going up against not as good of teams either at Washington as he is now. Bama, the competition is harder, but you have more talent. It kind of offsets itself because, I mean, what Washington did, it was incredible what he did. No one thought Washington had any shot to go on the run they did. I was a big advocate, obviously, as an Indiana fan. I was pushing for Penix. I was like, he's good. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be legit. He's going to be great. And he was. He goes to Washington, gets away from IU and their garbage O-line at the time. And he has great success re-teaming up with DeBoer, who was at Indiana, and he did great. And he did even better than I thought. I thought Washington would win 10 games with him, and they did even better than that. But they realistically shouldn't have been a team that was even being in contention for the Natty. Penix was great. That offense was great, but they didn't have a great run game either, and their defense sucked. So, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say their defense sucked. They had like one good guy on defense. Legitimately, there was one guy that was great, but the rest of it was not awesome. So it's like, I don't really agree with that. I see what you're saying, though, Godfather, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that's indicative that he can't win at Bama. He's just going to have to find a way to be able to, especially now with NIL out of control, be able to bring in the right guys with the right price tag to be able to assemble the right team in this stacked SEC. Even though the SEC's been down, I just feel like it's been like it's like cannibalizing itself. The league is kind of deep, or you got like teams like Tennessee and South Carolina that aren't trash anymore. Because Tennessee has been trash forever. South Carolina, outside of Spurrier, has been trash forever. And these teams are actually good now. You brought Texas in. There's a lot of like quality teams, and Bama's just not. We're not above it anymore. We're not above the rest. We're kind of just in the thick of it now, and that's what makes it, seem worse. But that's DeBoer's job to get back to the top. Last thing before I give it back to you guys, I just want to point this out too. Our run game wasn't trash. I don't think any of us said that. If we did give off that impression, that's not what I was trying to do anyway. The thing was, it was the lack of running the ball in general. It was not the average. We just didn't run the ball that much. We didn't choose to run the ball that much. That was what hurt our run game more than anything else.
Yeah, the fact that and Kyle, what I want to make a point of is the fact that Milroe was our running back last year when we didn't really have a guy that was talked about like the rest of the running backs we've had. I'm not saying that either. I'm making the point that when your quarterback ends up being the running back, there's a problem that you're not utilizing your running back correctly. That's what they were talking about on the dynasty is they're ready. McCarron and Richardson are ready for an actual time where now you don't have to, because you're not going to run the ball with Ty Simpson. You're just not. If you do that, that's because you're trying to get him to be what Milroe was, and that's not the style of quarterback he is. That's the only way you're going to get. And Simpson's, he can run, but you're not going to rely on that. And if you are, you're just defeating the purpose of what you do at Bama. The second thing I want to make a point of is, look at what happened when Coach Bryant wasn't the head coach anymore and who they brought to the table, and Mike Perkins. Mike Perkins was the guy that was supposed to be in the coaching degree of Bear. Not everybody that follows up the legend is going to be the guy. Well, the Boers won at every single program he's been at. And like you said, Jeffrey, the run that Washington had was incredible. I didn't think it was going to happen, but again, the difference to me is the logo for Washington is completely different to the logo to our script A. I'm not saying this to be disrespectful to Washington at all because you guys have a great program and you've proven it with quarterbacks like Penix and Jake Locker back in the day and Browning that's with the Bengals that stepped in for Burrow. But what I'm getting at is the script A to me generates a bigger dollar figure than the Husky does. So you're going to get the talent at Alabama versus what you'll get at Washington. And now the problem you're also facing is when the board was at Washington, that level of competition was not that good. They never utilized the lick of defense. So if you were, they were high scoring games and it was almost wire to wire each Saturday because your Oregons, your Oregon States, your Washingtons, your Washington States, those teams are playing the same competition because they both are all decent on offense. Like DJ Uiagalelei, for example, he would have done a lot better than me at Oregon State, but he left because he thought that his one season at Oregon State bought him another chance at a top tier program. And the difference is the ACC to me that season was a tad bit better than what the Pac-12 would have been because they just abandoned the Pac-12. So now he goes into an ACC where you're facing teams like Clemson and Miami, who I could go on about that, but I'm not going to. And you get what you get. You get a just okay DJ Uiagalelei, whereas at Oregon State, he looked like a guy that had returned his career around. But again, that to me, that's almost like I'll make a hockey statement. You play in a hockey game in the NHL, you win a Stanley Cup. Next season, you can probably come back to the team. The third season, you're going to be asking for more money because you won 2 Stanley Cups. That's like the Florida Panthers right now. The Florida Panthers are on the verge of winning another Stanley Cup if they play well. Your problem is the third year, you're going to have players starting saying, "I look at my work. I just won you a Stanley Cup. I played a very good season. Now I'm worth more." That's what I feel like DJU said at Oregon State. So in the case I'm making at is Coach DeBoer at Washington was playing level of competition that he ended up just having the better team out of the Pac-12. And I love DeBoer, and I'll say it again. I'm not saying he's a bad fit for us, but the SEC every year, like Lane Kiffin made the statement that I kind of agree with. The SEC is not easy. If you have to play the same, and the board said it too, if you have to play the level of competition we play every Saturday, you're having a very hard time winning games. Like Florida. We didn't know Florida's schedule was going to be, it wasn't as bad as people thought. And they got some quality wins towards the stretch. And that gave them a chance to revive Billy Napier's job. But again, DeBoer had to figure that out. It was his first year in the SEC. He had never stepped on an SEC field to see all these fans and then have to travel to like a Vanderbilt or travel to a Tennessee, an Oklahoma, and have to really showcase you better bring your A game every Saturday. And in the Pac-12, he didn't really have to do that. They played Arizona. I'll never forget it. They played Arizona State while Sam Levitt was still at Michigan State. Michael Penix had the worst game he had played all season. But it didn't matter because Arizona State kept it close because neither one of them utilized a lick of defense. But Arizona State still lost the game because Washington just happened to be a step above, one step closer. So I didn't mean to rant, but the narrative I see people saying we're not going to succeed with DeBoer is a bit funky to me. It's like DeBoer took the job for a reason. If he didn't think that the script A meant something, he could have went a lot of different directions. But he's never been that guy that backs down from a challenge to me.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think, for one thing, when you talk about that season, the 2023 Washington year, they barely won a lot of those games. To your point, you referenced Arizona State, but going back and looking at it, they barely beat Oregon both times, which that's valid because Oregon was good. But they struggled against Arizona, barely beat them. Arizona State, that was an awful game. Stanford, they barely beat. Utah, they barely beat. Again, kind of valid. Utah was pretty good. That Oregon State game was insane. The weather was terrible, and if they had to drop that game, it would have been understandable because, again, the weather was absolutely abysmal, and they were a passing team, so it's like in the rain, it's hard to throw. But they squeaked out that game. That was a thriller. And then Washington State, their rival, yeah, it's a rivalry game, but Washington State wasn't that good, and they barely beat them. They barely beat everyone on their schedule. So they weren't a fantastic team. They just had a schedule that was manageable enough with a quarterback that was good enough and an offensive scheme that was good enough. And the defense did enough in most games, and they won all those games. But they weren't an elite team. And that's why in hindsight, I picked them to beat Michigan in the championship game. Shouldn't have done that. That was terrible because Michigan was way better. But I was, pulling for my guy, Michael Penix. It was more of I was hoping Washington would win. Sorry, Burks, but I was pulling for Penix. But, Michigan, great team, and they deserve to win, despite all the garbage that's still being talked about with Michigan to this day. They had a really great team. But the thing is, like with DeBoer, it's like you did a great job, better than most coaches would have done with that Washington team, in my opinion. And I see, like Bert said, he should have stayed at Washington. The problem that I have with statements like that, not that Bert's like you saying that it's a completely valid opinion, but the problem when I see a statement like that is I remember Scott Frost, and I know I always bring him up. Scott Frost is at UCF. Everyone and their mother and their father, everyone on the planet, when it was announced, Nebraska, it's his alma mater. No one was against this. Everyone was like, it's going to work. I don't see any issues with this. What he did at UCF is incredible. He's going to win, and he's going to win big at Nebraska. And you cannot tell me, because there's going to be somebody in the comment section probably going to say, I knew it was going to – no, you didn't. You did not know it was going to fail. No one thought it was going to fail. And then it failed, and it failed badly. You can't predict stuff like that sometimes. Sometimes you think something's going to be a slam dunk, and it just isn't. I'm not saying people said that about DeBoer. Now, some people are saying not a slam dunk, but legitimately, like, who was better for us to hire than him? I can't think of one. I wouldn't have gone with Lane Kiffin. Sure as heck wouldn't have gone with Mike Norvell, which we dodged a bullet big time, obviously, with that. That would have been disastrous. A few other guys. Mike Loxley just still cracks me up. That was a thing. I know why, but I don't care. So it's like we hired, to me, the best guy, to me, like out of the group that was being determined, like, hey, this is the candidates. But he left Washington for Bama for two reasons. Because like you said, Richie, number one, the script A. It means a lot more. That's number one. The chance to be one of the best programs in the country. And the second was because Bama paid him more. Washington tried. They gave him a big contract, a really big contract. Wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. Look at Jet Fish. Arizona. Hey, Arizona, we're doing good now. We're Kevin Sumlin, the stain is over. Like, we don't suck anymore. Gone. It goes to Washington for a few extra mil. Not doing good right now. We'll see if he turns it around this year. Some people are saying so. I don't know. DeMond Williams, their quarterback. We'll see. But it's like people leave for more money. And I don't blame people for doing that. Why would you not? Any of us would probably do so in the same situation. As long as you're not selling your soul away, which I don't think becoming the Bama coach is doing that, then it's like I would take the job if I was offered it, even if it does stain your legacy, like Burke says. Yeah, is DeBoer really going to care if his legacy is stained? I don't think so. He gave it his shot if it does fail. He gave it a shot. You can't think like that, because if you think like that, you're never going to, accept a big challenge like the Bama job. You're going to shy away from, I'm at Washington, I'm fine. Think about it this way. What if DeBoer stays at Washington? He's losing Penix. He's losing all those great players. What if he's doing what Jed Fish is doing right now? Going 6-6. Then his legacy's really screwed. He's a one-hit wonder now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to leave while you can. And it was a great point made earlier about Jimbo. I didn't get to read it. But about how Florida State was falling apart. Yes, it was. I remember DeAndre Francois, a guy nobody remembers. DeAndre Francois was elite, man, for a brief. And then he got hurt. And when he got hurt, team tanked. And Jimbo knew it. And he saw that A&M job as an out. And I'm not saying DeBoer saw that. because I do believe that taking this job and the money was more so than that. But maybe in the back of his head, it's like, will I be able to repeat this at Washington again? Probably not, especially knowing that they were going to the Big Ten. That's why he took the job.
Yeah. Well, Richie, what else have you got for us tonight, good boy?
I got one more take on that comment that Burks made. Failing at a program like Alabama will not destroy his legacy, because here's the thing. When you take a job like Alabama, you're taking it because of what has been there before. He knew taking the job at Alabama was going to be the biggest challenge in his coaching career. So I sit back and I'm not, I respect your opinion, but I get to the point where I have to sit back and go, he could, like Jeffrey just said, he could have stayed at Washington. They tried what they could. I'm going to make a point here. They tried so hard to keep Saban at Miami with the Dolphins. They did everything. They did the same thing with him at LSU. He basically told them at LSU that I want to go and get a chance to coach an NFL team because that's what I've dreamed of. He was the coordinator with the Browns. I think he had a stint with the Giants as a coordinator, as a D-backs coordinator. And then he gets the head gig at Miami. Now, granted, they weren't that good, but I mean, there was a lot of holes in that team. Saban took the job at Alabama because he wanted to follow up Bear Bryant. Not saying, and I'm going to go back to Shula, not saying Shula was a bad coach, but you were never going to win with Shula. The only reason why Shula was like the fallout guy, or the back, like the desperado guy. When they hired Coach Saban, they paid Shula's buyout because you're not going to leave. You're not going to let a guy like Nick Saban go away. The problem is Rich Rod, to me, was the first choice. Because and one of the reasons why he was the first choice was because Nick Saban made that junky statement to the Dolphins on the radio program, if you remember that. He basically said, I'm not leaving. I will be your coach. I believe in the Dolphins, all that. Next thing you know, the Bama job, they were talking about maybe Shula's not the answer. Who could we get? That was before they even had announced the vacancy. It's who could we get? They had brought in Saban. Saban comes in and he wins us the chips to prove himself. He's up there with Bear Bryant. Coach DeBoer is following up a legend. And you can't convince me otherwise that Saban and Paul Bryant aren't two of the best coaches in college football. You could say someone tried to argue with me, Tom Osborne. And we were talking on Football Foreplay that Jackson, you join every now and again. And I said on there with Brother Crunch that was on yesterday for his program, I said, yeah, but Tom Osborne, to me, he was at one program. Saban got the job at Alabama because he won the national championship at LSU. I'm not discrediting Tom Osborne's legacy at Nebraska, but Tom Osborne only won at Nebraska. Saban built a resume winning at two different programs. Paul Bryant, what was he at, Kentucky and A&M before he took the Bama job, and he didn't.
And he was at Maryland only 1 year in 1945.
But the point is he didn't leave them in junk shape. He actually left them in a creditable shape to where the next guy coming into those three programs figured it out, or at least could do something. Coach DeBoer made that choice to come to Alabama because he knew what he was up against. The guy following up Gene Stalling when we won the championship, what was it, Dennis Franchione?
No. Mike DeBose said then.
Yeah,
Dennis
Mike DeBose. I was getting ready to say he was
Mike
the next
DeBose
guy.
had some issues in the back room.
Yeah, exactly. And I heard the Eli Gold stories. But the point is Mike DeBoise is the one gentleman that didn't do it because there was off the field issues. The same thing with Mike Perkins after he followed up Bear. Not everybody's gonna pan out, but DeBoer, we went 9-3. Saban didn't go 9-3 his first season because he had issues, but he turned it around the next few seasons and won a championship out of it. I do believe that DeBoer is a winner. I'm not going to say he's not until it really starts to show me something different.
Right.
But I will leave it at this and say the board took this job for a reason. The script A means a lot, is a bigger figure than Washington Husky logo. I'm not saying Washington hasn't done anything, but that conference they're in is no match to what the SEC conference is. And that statement that Kiffin said that every game is almost like you're playing the national championship. Well, this is your job's on the line, your legacy's on the line. I stand by that statement. I will back that up. It's 100% accurate. The board realized that his first year. If he doesn't get it together this year with Grubb, I'll have a question. But it's a completely different team. It's now your team. You're doing what you want. If you win and have a great season, they'll give you what you want to a degree. You won't get Saban love or Bear love, but you'll start getting love from Greg Byrne and the fans and the boosters and things like that. No Washington fan, and I apologize, wanted to see DeBoer leave at any stretch. But DeBoer had to do what was best. His daughter still plays college softball at Washington, so hopefully she can transfer to the Crimson Tide, roll Tide, roll. But again, you're doing what's best for your family and your legacy because you're trying to make a name for yourself. You're going to a top tier program. So I'll believe it when I see it, but I can't sit there and say that DeBoer is a terrible coach because a lot of people expected us to go do way worse than a 9-3 season. And at least we made a bowl game. We didn't win, and I think Berks, you like Michigan, you kicked our tail. But the bowl games to me don't really mean much anymore because a lot of players opt out. It's not like a game that really you hold up a trophy. It makes you look good. The fans are proud. But to me, I wasn't choked up that we lost. I said, get your butts together, come out next season firing and win and show that you can be back in the mix with the SEC now that Texas and Oklahoma have joined. So I didn't mean to rant, but I just really things like that make me question. It's like you took the job for a reason. So, but I'm going to let you all go so you can get someone else on. But always a pleasure having you guys.
Always awesome talking with you, Richie. We'll
Appreciate it,
definitely
Richie.
see you soon
Yeah.
next week.
Absolutely. See you guys later.
Have a great night.
And before we get to our next callers, we got to do a little something for 4th of July. It's never too early to do some planning for 4th of July. Maybe this doppelganger of Mark Rogers can tell us what to do.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
That is right. Shop on Amazon using the link to support the Voice of College Football. You don't need to buy the product display. It doesn't cost you a penny, and you get the same shopping experience. Hopefully that Memorial Day sale is not too late. But if it isn't, no worries. There's a 4th of July sale coming and a Father's Day sale coming your way from Amazon. Alrighty, we got some really good friends of the Voice of College Football. We saw this guy on the Oregon show last night. We got Will and D, and we got another good friend of the Voice of College Football, Dr. Buckeye. Let me see. Here we go.
Hey, Will.
What's up, guys?
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing
Doing
tonight,
good.
gentlemen?
Yes. Nobody does advertisements better than Jackson, by the way. Shout out Jackson.
He's our ads
thank you.
guy.
Mhm.
Nobody does advertisements better than Jackson. I just have to say that.
I do my best. Did you guys watch today's edition of the Voice of College Football?
I did. I actually saw Mark's interview, unfortunately, with Steve Days. I had to sit through it. But
Well, I'll be honest with you. I want to see if Steve Dace will go on Real Time with Bill Maher or Club Random with Bill Maher and just be like, he is the host of the Steve Dace Show and the Michigan Podcast. Like, I just want to hear like Bill Maher give out a mention of the Michigan Podcast and voice college football. Because like
Steve,
that would be, huh?
just real quick, Dace better bring the Cheetos.
Oh man, like it would be funny because I'm just like it would be awesome. And we're still making sure we're trying to get Mark on the Feinbaum show because like let's be
Wow.
real, Feinbaum needs to get Mark on.
That would be
I'm
awesome. I told him to get Klatt too. I was shout out. I wanted to see if he can bring on Joel Klatt.
Great.
He's
Well,
had on some big people before, like Phil Steele. So I can see it happening. It would be awesome for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has had on Peter Burns, and I expect to have him on again. Well, gentlemen, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, go ahead, Will. I'm sorry.
I was just surprised about the field storming thing the SEC passed. Like, what's that crap? Like, that's part of the game. Like, I just don't understand it. I mean, as long as the opposing team can get off the field beforehand, I think I see no qualm with it.
Yeah, I think that's overplayed a little bit. By the way, Will, you guys got that negative criticism a few years ago during the COVID year after you went over Clemson that year, which I thought was a little BS. But the way college football was handled that entire season, I thought was BS. But that's a different discussion for a different day. Yeah, I think this is a bit too far. I think this is continuing to try to regulate some of the fun out of the game.
Everything has to be regulated these days.
Well, that's for sure.
I mean, it's not even sports. I'm not going to even bother talking about it, but there's way too much regulation. I mean, you have to have some regulation. You cannot let everybody run amok doing whatever and anything. I mean, like if people are stomping on each other, field storming, then you gotta make sure stuff like that don't happen. But you get rid of the spontaneity of life. And the fun of life, and everything becomes sanitized. I don't like it. I don't. I mean, I'm not like one of those daring people out there. It's like, oh, let's jump out of planes and let's climb mountains and all this kind of junk. But I mean, you still like to have fun, And if you're not allowed to have fun, it's kind of like when you're a kid, you have to, but you're at like Disney World or you're at one of those parks where you're in the little bumper car and it's got the little line that keeps you on track. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just want to get on a car and drive off the track. You know what I'm saying? You want to go a little off. Now you don't want to go completely off the cliff, but sometimes you just don't want to stay on this. And that's what I feel like when these things are passed. It's making you stay here instead of get to explore a little bit. I don't know.
Well, the fans, they can do,
but I think it is valid.
Well, the fans, they can do all the drinking and gambling all they want, but they can't go around.
Well, gambling's always encouraged, man.
That's true.
Broke.
Yes, thank you. I got to pay my rent somehow. You know what I mean?
You can do all the drinking and gambling all you want, but what you can't do is pinching people on the butt. You can't be like harming people. You can't be throwing beer every time.
That was a hallmark of 80s commercials, man.
Exactly. I mean, it's like you gotta have a Marshall Dillon over there, just draw a line in the sand for everybody. That's what you gotta have. That's all you need.
Thanks for the Gunsmoke reference there, Jackson.
You're welcome. Only thing that's missing is Chester just yelling for Mr. Dillon, Mr. Dillon.
I wish they would save the regulation or some of the guardrails for NIL, to be fair. You know what I mean? To be honest with you. I mean, that's
free reign, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that's free reign right now.
And see, free reign, I'm not for.
Right.
You can't let things be amok. You can't let things just be this wide open thing where anything goes. You have to have some rules, but you can't overdo it. You can't scrutinize everything or over-regulate everything. It has to be some type of balance. It's like, moderation. That's a key word. I know some people like these days that word's just kind of gotten overused and people roll their eyes at it. But it's like, like if you're having a diet, like there's nothing wrong with eating ice cream every now and then or splurging or whatever. Like NIL keep it where, you have, I guess, some leeway with it, but you can't be having these $50 million rosters either. Like there's got to be some like extent, some I don't know what other word to use, but some like
Willpower.
like you can't let it go past this point of insanity. It's so frustrating because I feel like a lot of people interpret that, like, because it's like when I describe a lot of things, a lot of people say that I'm like neutral and I'm not picking a side. I am picking a side. I'm picking a choice. It's that I'm not for letting all of this go crazy, but I'm also not for overregulation. I'm never for overregulation. Overregulating always ends badly, and it makes people miserable. Is what it does. It is terrible in every facet of life. You're not supposed to overregulate, but if you don't have any boundaries at all, then it's too chaotic and it can be dangerous. So there has to be a middle ground, and it needs to be for NIL and the portal and all this stuff, because it's gotten out of hand. It is ruining people's enjoyment of the game. Like I said, I think one of the biggest things I loved, and a lot of people love about sports, was watching a player commit to your school and being there for 4 years, and then he graduates, and that's gone. Because like I said, how do you have any attachment to these players when they commit to your school and then the next year they're gone?
Well,
I don't have any. Not as much as I used to.
I think, though, too, when you want to be so pro player, you can take pro player so far. And I think that's kind of where you were going with that, Jeffrey, is that you can take it so far. And I think that they, in their efforts to be very pro player, they took it too far. And, I think even the people that supported NIL, even the people that support paying the players, know that this system isn't long-term sustainable even. That's something you have to put some guidelines in with it. I don't know whether it's going to be salary cap. I don't know whether, the players are going to be employees. I don't know whether there's even going to be a possibility of a union down the road. But if you're going to be the NFL junior, you know what I mean, which the sport is becoming, you still have to have something, to kind of, I want to say regulate. Well, if you want to call it regulated, then call it regulated. But at the very least, give this thing. The term I've used is some structure. It needs some structure to it.
Yeah, unions has always been an interesting discussion when it comes to pro or against. Because you think about, like, historically with like railroads and stuff and like steel workers, like, it makes sense to have unions. But it goes to a point where sometimes a union isn't needed. The problem with unions is that unions usually exist to fix problems. Yeah. And then what happens is that the union temporarily fixes the problem, but then sometimes the union becomes the problem. So it's like, I don't necessarily think a union would fix college football either, because I think that it maybe would help at first, but then it always usually ends badly. I'm not anti-union, but a lot of companies have unions and they still suck.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not like, because I'm telling you, I've had conversations with people about this, and like some people are like very pro-union, and I get it. I understand why. And like when they first were instituted back in the 1880s, 1870s or whatever, it made sense. Like, I get it. Like, you had to have something because, like, these workers were getting abused. But now it's like everything has a union, teachers union, everything, farmers union, everything's got a union. But does it actually fix anything? Because people still complaining about with teachers, farmers are still complaining. All these things still have problems. It doesn't fix everything. You know what I'm saying? Like UPS is a union. The post office is union. Like, well, it's the government. But, like stuff like that, just, it doesn't always work. It can help. And sometimes it is pro the employee and the worker, but at the same time, sometimes they fail and sometimes they don't actually help at all. So I don't know.
To keep it in the college football realm, didn't Northwestern try it a few years ago and it got shot down, right?
That's a good point. I remember that.
Yeah, the Northwestern tried it and then they got shot down. So it'd be interesting to see with the college football world that we're in now, if that idea gets run back down the road. That's where I was going with that. It was tried once. Do they try to put their hand on that stove down the road again? Especially with, kind of, where we're at right now with NIL and paying the players. So,
Something's got to give. I mean, a
Yeah.
union might end up happening. We'll see. I just don't think it's going to be the fix that some people that I have seen that says it will. I don't think it will be this complete fix. It might help some. Like I said, I'm not pro or anti-union all the way. I'm not either or in general, but I don't think they always necessarily help as much as some people think. But
Yeah,
it depends
I
on who
agree.
is running the union too.
Yeah.
You know, do they have the best interests of what, themselves or the actual players or employees or whatever? That's what matters, because whenever you have any type of business or organization, it's always about who runs the thing.
Mhm.
That's
right.
what matters. I mean, like in anything, you know, it could be a lemonade stand. If the lemonade stand is run by a moron, then the lemonade stand's gonna suck. You know, I mean, I'm serious. Like it's just as basic, as simple as that. It's hard when you have to have someone rule something, lead something, and rely on that for something to succeed, because that's why all the dynasties in China, you think historically, all of them failed. Every one of them. Some of them lasted hundreds of years, but they eventually failed because of the fact you're going off one family, you're just running with it, and eventually you're going to have garbage leaders, and those garbage leaders tank the dynasty. It's how that works. It's like you can't just rely on that. You know, you have to have rules that are in place regardless of who leads. And that's why our country is at 249 years coming up of still existing, because no matter who leads our country, whether they're completely idiots or whether they're sane or whatever, all the rules that we have already in place, you can't affect that no matter what you do or what you say. That's why I'm not really massively in favor of like having an organization, like a body of people, you know, be like the head of like college football, where you say this is what we're doing, but then it could change because they're changing the rules. You need to have rules in place that are predetermined, that make sense. And then if you have leaders, they can't change those rules. Now maybe stuff can be added, aka our amendments, but you can't just have it where they can make all these decisions and just keep changing stuff every 2 seconds. That's what we got right now. Things are just changing rapidly all over college football, and most of these moves suck. They don't make any sense. They're ruining the game, and that's the problem. So I don't know if, like I said, if that makes any sense, but that's just how I see it.
Speaking of suck, did you guys already talk about the 16-team playoff?
Boo.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it, but I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I knew
Well,
it
we
was going to
did
be
talk
talked about,
about.
and it probably will happen, but I don't like it.
Okay.
We did. I believe we talked about it Sunday. I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, where we gave our take on how it can affect Alabama, but like the rest of college football, I'm like, is it going to screw the big non-conference games? Is it like, what does that mean for the big non-conference games? I mean, I know like some of the conference rivalries are fine, but I just feel like there's some squiggly lines coming.
You know who should be the most anti-expansion? Ironically, who should be the most anti-expansion of playoffs should be the coaches, because the more they expand this thing, the baseline to get in is becoming more and more, and firings are going to be more common at the top. Brian Kelly, you're done, gone, history. Lincoln Riley, gone, because the playoff it's going to be so easy to make the thing. So if you don't make the thing at a big-time school, you're toast.
Yeah.
You're just turning it into the March Madness thing, where it's like to make March Madness the baseline. To make March Madness you don't even have to be good. That's why Mike Woodson's the guy at Indiana, because he couldn't make the tournament. It's like, bro, all you had to do was just make the tournament every year. It's like, you don't have to be good, man. It was one game. They went 19-12 the last 2 seasons. 20-11 they're in. He didn't get in, so he's gone. I feel like this is what's happening with college football, because like I said, you look at it before, and if you were like the 5th team on the outside or the 6th team on the outside, people are like, you had a great year. You just happened to be 11-1 with 4 other teams, and you didn't get in. It's fine. Now you're putting 9-3 teams on the outside. You do 16, you're going to have an 8-4 team right on the outside. And these are going to be big-time programs that miss. And like I said, it's going to make it look even worse for those coaches, and those guys they're done.
Mark Rogers was pointing this out. I think Iowa's going to be very happy with a 16-team playoff.
Obviously.
Yes,
I don't even know because would they get in?
well, I mean, Iowa's that proverbial 9-3.
If
like
they go 8-4, they don't get in though.
Well,
Because they're not going to let them in.
But
9-3, I don't even know if they would, because what if there's like 10 9-3 teams? Would they let them in?
yeah, but Jeffrey, you look at the last 10 years, they've been kind of hovering in around that, 14, 15, ranking type team over the last 10 years, maybe even, between 12 and like 15 or 16. So 16, it's like when we went to 12, we always said Penn State would love it. You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? They were that 10-2 type program.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm trying to see if I could find where Iowa's finished in the top 25.
Well, yeah, take a look at their last 5 or 6 regular seasons. I think you'll see there's some 9-3 or some 10-2 even maybe in there.
Oh, thank you, Steve. We appreciate it, man. Salute to you right back. But yeah, like 16 teams. The Pirate Mike Leach, shout out to Mike Leach, by the way.
Yeah.
Warned us all years ago that we're going from that we're going to be eventually going to 64, which I mean, I think he was like being sarcastic, but also serious at the same time. Where he's like, because number 5's throwing a fit, number 3's throwing a fit, number 9, number 65 is throwing a fit.
Hey, Dr. Buckeyes is great.
What's up?
You look at Iowa. Last year they were 8-5, so
right.
No, 10-4 the year before, and they were 17th in the final CFP ranking.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it has to be pre-bowl though. Look at the pre-bowl ranking.
No, I think when they were 9-3, they might have been ranked higher than 17th though, Jeffrey.
Maybe. Well, their highest in the AP, they said they were 18th.
Okay.
The year before they were 8-5 again. Then the year before that they were 10-4. They were second for brief. For brief that season before I think the debacle against Penn State or something like that.
Yeah.
They finished 15th in the CFP. Then they were 6-2 the year before that, finished 15th in the CFP. Okay. 10-3 the year before that, 16 in the CFP. And then the other year before that they were 9-4. They finished unranked, but their highest ranking was 16. So basically they're always right there.
That's what I'm saying.
Cut line. So if it's a 16 team and you have an auto bid from one of the garbage teams and you have to finish 15.
Okay.
And if you have to finish 15, Iowa's always usually 16 or 17. That's why I'm saying they still might not get in a lot.
Well, it gives them a chance, though. Let's be honest with you. It gives them a chance to where, let's say over a 7 or 8 year period, they could probably get in, 3 times or something.
But think about it, though. Like, we know Ferentz is about to be gone.
Yeah, that's true.
But think about it, though. Just say Ferentz coaches another 5 to 10 years. Just hypothetically, for this to make sense. Before 8-5.
Yeah.
Now it's like you should be going 9-3, Ferentz. You should be making the playoffs. What are you doing? Gone. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you're a coach, you don't like expansion. And I think it's so funny that so many of them are in favor of it. It's like, no, you needed it where the playoff was exclusive, where barely anybody made it. So at your mediocre school, you go 8-4, you're having a great time. You're happy that you went to the Holiday Bowl. Now it's a disappointment. Now it's like, all right, we have this greater opportunity to make the playoff, and we're still not doing it. So, and just imagine if it gets expanded to 24.
Oh, that's
going to get even worse.
No and then the rivalries are gone.
Right.
That's another thing. If you need a chance to get into a 16-team playoff, who really cares?
Like I
don't completely agree with that, but it basically kind of sums.
I saw that turd Brian Kelly on the Fine Bombs, which hey, I am never going to quit ragging on Brian Kelly. But one thing you'll never hear me.
Will loves it, by the way. Will wants you to continue to rag on Brian Kelly. Rag on Brian Kelly all day.
I'll rag on Brian, but I'll never rag on fans. I'll never rag on fans unless it's like one that's getting drunk.
One of my favorite just screenshots of all time, and Dr. Buckeye is going to remember. I know Will as well. Probably Jackson, because he remembers everything. But one of my favorite screenshots ever is that LSU girl, man.
Yeah, I saw that
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
That LSU girl, man, her face was so
Yeah.
priceless, man. So free. I was young too, and that was like 10 years ago. But man, her face, dude, that camera just shot right there. She was like,
But yeah,
good.
so
So good, man.
I've got some more to rail on Brian Kelly because it's like he's obviously a turd for another reason. He doesn't even care about Notre Dame USC, which I mean, I wouldn't expect him to care about Notre Dame USC or other non-conference, obviously not college football, which I mean, you gotta look out for your team, right? But here's the thing. You're only wanting to do the SEC Big Ten Challenge, but here's the thing though. You really want to miss out on playing your rivals in all college football? Like, you don't even know
The
who
thing
your
about
rival-
the Big Ten SEC challenges, a lot of the games and a lot of the programs that we want to see are already scheduled that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, do we really care about seeing Maryland versus Mississippi State? Like, I just don't care
Not
about
no,
that,
but
man.
hell no, we don't.
Well,
I mean, do people care about it? Like, remember the ACC or the Big Ten ACC challenge? Before that went away.
Oh, they
Like,
try.
Did people care in basketball when Georgia Tech played Northwestern? No.
True.
Like a lot of those games are going to be trash. You have your like 3 headline matchups, sometimes 2, and that's it. No one really cares about the rest. So I mean, theoretically, if you had a football Big Ten SEC challenge like that, if that happened, it's like, yeah, most of the games no one's going to care outside of people who are fans of those teams or most likely went to that school. That's just kind of the way it is. I mean, you're going to have your Ohio State, Texas, or your Alabama, Michigan, or your USC, Georgia, or whatever. And then the rest is like, okay.
Yeah.
And no one really cares about Vanderbilt, Rutgers. I mean, Indiana, Florida might be good now, wink, wink. But, you know, I'm just saying, like, most people aren't going to care about most of those games. That's just that would be in any sport.
Can I pile on Brian?
On a brighter note, we are 4 minutes away from it being 85 days until week 0, 92 days until the Alabama season and the Ohio State season starts.
Yeah, me and Will are in the future. We're on the East Coast, so we get that a little early.
Well, can I say Brian Kelly could lose his opener for the 4th straight year this year? By the way, you know they open up with.
I'm okay
you know what I
with
mean?
that.
Just to pile on Brian Kelly,
they're playing at Clemson.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Good luck, Brian.
Let's do that.
I want to see Clemson win that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too, man. Clemson needs a big win early.
Yeah.
Dabo.
They have not had a big win early in the season in years. They need it. Dabo needs it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people like Clemson this year. Klubnik, a lot of people are on the Klubnik bandwagon. This is the year for Dabo.
Klubnik's good, but he's not great. I don't know if he'll be great this year, but he is a good player. He's not bad. He's just not great.
I promise you, when we have the LSU guys for Alabama LSU preview week for Alabama Voice College Football, I will be on my best behavior. I promise you.
I'll try Jackson, but I mean,
Jeffrey,
it is kind of hard.
Jeffrey, I'm gonna have to rag on you a bit. Like, why did Indiana release that on their their non-conference schedule? Just don't talk about it. Like, we don't want you. We don't need you to.
Indiana is relevant now, and we have to take advantage of all opportunities to get people talking. All right, so we're doing it.
Yeah.
Who cares if the game sucked? Michigan sucked. When they won the title, their non-conference was the exact same as ours. Non-conference so it don't matter.
Their non-conference was terrible for 3 years in a row. It was bad for 3 years in a row.
Now. Before, when our non-conference was bad, no one talked about it. But now you got Signetti. It's the Signetti effect. We'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that they could be solid this year. They may have upgraded a quarterback, by the way.
Fernando Mendoza, if he has a great year, could be a projected first-round pick.
Whoa.
Which would be the first-round pick for Indiana football since 1994.
Was that Trent Green?
Oh man, that was.
I don't. It was Thomas something. I don't think Trent Green was a first-round pick. Let me look that up.
That's a good one. Man. There's a good Indiana football trivia question for you, Jeffrey.
Yeah, that is a good. His name was Thomas something, I think.
I'm surprised Antoine Randall wasn't first round.
Oh,
Thomas
man.
Lewis.
Oh,
Thomas
okay.
Lewis. Antoine Randall went in the second round.
Okay.
Yeah.
He went in the second round. Trent Green went in the 8th round.
Wow. Trent Green
He
went
went
in
in
the
the
8th.
8th round. Some other big ones. Roger Saffold, the offensive line, went in the second round. Cody Latimer went in the second round to the Broncos.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. The countdown's getting closer. The countdown's getting close to midnight to Will Jeffries' Dr. Buckeye's timeline. Oh man, here we go. We're gonna start the countdown at the 10 mark. No worries.
This is this is not New Year's, but I mean we could still do it.
No, but we treat it like New Year's here at the Voice of College Football because we're getting closer to college football season starting.
You know, I'm really excited about opening up with Texas this year. I think it's kind of cool. Reminiscent, we played them 20 years. It's actually 20 years ago. We played them at home. We had to play the Vince Young team that year. Lost a heartbreaker in a game I thought we could have won. But
hold that thought, Dr. Buckeye.
Sure.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
I should be in bed,
4,
bro.
3, 2, 1. We are officially
Happy New
at
Year!
midnight, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 85 days until week 0. 90 days until week 1 Thursday night, the 24-hour live show at the Voice of College Football. 91 days until Auburn, Baylor, Colorado, Georgia Tech. 92 days till Alabama starts their season. The Ohio State Buckeyes start their season. The Michigan Wolverines start their season. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, well, as for them, it's 93 days until they start their season against Miami. South Carolina, Virginia Tech start their season on that time frame as well. 94 days until North Carolina TCU on Labor Day, the start of the Bill Belichick era, where everybody will forget about Bill Belichick.
Will his girlfriend be on the sidelines, by the way? How many shots?
He got banned from like the practices, right?
I'm not surprised.
You know,
I mean, I'm not surprised. Good Jackson, you know what you reminded me of when we were doing all that, though? It reminded me of on SpongeBob, though, when SpongeBob and Patrick were saying happy birthday to Squidward, right? Oh. And he's like, it's not my birthday! I'm sorry, I just had to say that. That was on my mind. But back to UNC. I'm not surprised the girlfriend's banned. I'm not surprised.
Well, you know, I mean, she seems to have an influence on him. Everybody saw the interview. You know what I mean? Everybody saw the interview. What is the over and under on Belichick at UNC? Do you think he stays there, 2, 3 years?
I don't see it being
3 max.
He'll be fine, but he'll get $1 million. He'll only have to pay $1 million buyout, so it won't matter. But if you don't want to hear, if you don't want to only hear about Bill Belichick's sets issues at North Carolina, but you want to hear about actual football for North Carolina football, check out Myron and Joel Tuesday nights on North Carolina at the Voice of College Football.
Do they talk about her on there?
Do they
just avoid that whole thing?
Because they kind of have to, but
I mean, yeah, because you gotta play it up, right? Like thumbnail. Oh, girlfriend, big news coming out. She's causing problems within team. Like you gotta talk about it, I'm sure. Man, I mean, all I know is I do like North Carolina football. I'm more of a basketball fan, but I do like North Carolina football. But I am kind of cringing and all that. It is hard.
Did you guys see that CBS Sunday News interview with? Did you guys see the CBS Sunday News interview with Belichick? It was like he didn't even know people were talking about it when they brought her up, which was
I mean, when you're
that's what the internet does, man. I mean, the internet, like literally, a commentator during game will accidentally say something wrong. They'll mix up a couple. Oh, did you hear that commentator say something wrong? I can't believe it. I never knew anybody could ever mess up ever. Yeah, okay. That's kind of the way people are. Mostly X. People just talk about whatever. So, I mean, if you're going to have a 73-year-old man, 72, however old he is, with a 24-year-old, I mean, of course I know her age, 24-year-old girl, I mean,
makes sense.
Woman.
I mean, bro, like,
people are going to talk about it. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I mean, as a fellow 24-year-old, like, come on, like, give me some too, Bill. Give me some.
Wow. I didn't expect you to go there, Will.
For everyone out there, she is a woman But compared to him, she just kind of don't, man. I mean, because like I said,
I'm joking.
He's 73, man.
She likes him for his personality.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Okay.
And we know that Belichick personality can be very charming.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Well, I will say on a serious note, though, with North Carolina, I do think that's a program where you can win at. I mean, Mac won games there. If you look at states producing NFL players, North
Carolina's really high.
Yeah, it was really high. And, they're in a conference you can win in. So it's not like it's the Big Ten or the SEC.
No.
So
I live here, Steve. I live in North Carolina. You know this.
Yeah, I mean
this, man.
He's giving you good, buddy.
My growing list of teams. I did a Go Canes Carolina Hurricane. I don't even watch hockey, but they tied the game up last night. I just went Go Canes and Stephen Cherry was like, "How many hockey teams do you have?"
Yes.
I don't even watch hockey.
I love what Bert's comment. That's much better looking than Bill Belichick's girl. He could do so much better.
We might need a little proof here, Berks. We need some proof here.
I'll take his word for it. I'm
just kidding, man. I don't know. I mean,
tell you the truth, Jordan's not really my type, to be honest.
So, Doc, for the Big Ten, do you think this is if Franklin doesn't win the Big Ten this year, I don't think he's ever going to win the Big Ten.
Why is Penn State projected number one?
It's because they're bringing everyone back besides Carter and Warren.
I'll be honest, Will.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I don't think Penn State needs to necessarily win the Big Ten. They just have to finish in the top 4 and just make a good enough playoff run. Franklin's good to go. Same
theoretically, that's kind of what they did last year, except not technically top 4. But they did that last year.
They did it last year, but they didn't beat. They beat no one.
That's true.
No.
They were probably overseeded, by the way.
They
were probably seeded too high.
Will, but I mean, this season they could do the same thing. It's not going to be enough then using that logic. They're going to have to beat somebody. For Penn State to legitimately have the season that Franklin has been looking for, then you have to beat them.
Yeah.
You got to beat them, which obviously Buckeye fans would completely go crazy because, we can only lose to Michigan right now. We can't add Penn State to that list. But if you're James Franklin, you got to beat them.
And they have to win at Oregon at a whiteout night game. They're playing Oregon
Last year's game, Penn State gave away.
To us, you're saying they gave it away?
Yes.
I wouldn't go that far.
Penn State had the pick 6, and then they did nothing after that.
Well, to be fair,
all the momentum, and they gave it away.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna state facts here without bias, but I'll state the facts. The facts is we did outgain them, and we lost the turnover battle, and we won by a touchdown on their field. Those are all facts.
I agree. I'm just saying that when they had the pick 6, Penn State
had that.
The momentum, and they did literally nothing after.
I mean,
but what does that fall back?
It was impressive defense by the Buckeyes, but that goal line stand just was more like Penn State being pathetic than
choking forever.
To be fair, we had a bad fumble too. Howard fumbled the ball at the 2-yard line. That could have flipped the game too. I mean, what it comes down to, you saw it, is can Aller and that passing game come up big time?
I mean, if you can't, Pena from Syracuse, he has to be as good as he was at Cuse.
Yeah,
Drew Aller has never stepped up to the plate. And I don't know if it's more of him being incapable or if it's because I don't know, man. I watch Penn State every year. They play in a big game, and it's usually the Buckeyes, and they freaking just fold. That's what I see. 2 years ago, Penn State had a shot 2 years ago, but dink and dunk, dink and dunk, dink and dunk all game long. It's you're not going to win doing that crap. If you're going to beat Ohio State, you have to throw the ball downfield. You just have to throw the ball downfield. You get them a couple times, then that opens up your ability to run the ball maybe. It opens up your ability not to have to throw every freaking time. But Penn State would just these little chuck passes, little 2-yard passes. It's like, oh wow, Ohio State made a tackle. Amazing.
Well,
I didn't know that. And I'm not trying to diss your team, Dr. Buck. I'm dissing Penn State. That is the problem. They're not going to beat Ohio State until they are man enough to go out there on that field and play a freaking football game like they do against Wisconsin or some crap.
Well,
they won't do it. They just will not do it. They will not go out there with the talent they have and win. When they had that pick 6 last year, they could have just won. They could have said, we're going to go out there and we're just going to play offense. We're going to not worry about that it's the Buckeyes. We've got momentum. The crowd is nuts, even if it's during the day. Nuts. But no, they just passive, and they just let Ohio State win. Because, like you said, Ohio State didn't play well either, but it was Penn State's fault.
Let me make a couple points on that. I mean, I've defended Aller from this perspective. I think his wide receivers have been garbage. I really think his wide receivers have been hot garbage. They do not have it. I mean, let's be honest. Their passing game was built around Tyler Warren last year. It just was. Mm-hmm. Now, he happened to be the best tight end in college football, so that kind of helps. But to your point, they really don't have any down the field threats. I've made the case Clifford had better receivers than he did because Clifford at least had a KJ Hamler or a Jahan Dotson, which are NFL
They were decent.
Those are NFL wide receivers. They don't have NFL wide receivers anymore. I think that's a fair statement.
But that's a Franklin problem.
That's true. That's a recruiting issue.
Julian Fleming's going to save the day.
Right.
Okay. An average receiver.
To be fair, I thought Aller played awful against Will's team. I mean, he missed a couple of throws. He missed a wheel route down the sideline that could have been a big play. He missed an easy touchdown on the goal line, although I thought the running back could have caught that ball, even though it was a low pass. But I would say, to be fair here, if you would have told me Penn State would have scored 24 points before that game started, to be fair, Will, I thought they would have beaten you guys. I didn't know if you guys would have had enough offense to beat them. What killed them is they couldn't cover Greathouse. Mm-hmm. Greathouse killed them in that game. And by the way, Greathouse killed us and almost led that comeback in that game. I mean, he busted that one Penn State corner's ankles in that game. After it looked like Penn State had the momentum in that game. Now, I realize Aller was bad, but there were other things that need to be talked about in that football game, too. Not to mention James Franklin's brain farts. We could talk about that all day.
One of the biggest brain farts I've ever seen came from Penn State because everybody remembers the Michael Penix 2-point conversion against Penn State that year in 2020. But people forget the fact that Penn State didn't kneel the ball. Mm-hmm. And Penn State was up 1 point in the game. It was 21-20 in the fourth quarter. Penn State got the first down. Mm-hmm. And they were down at like the 5.
Jeffrey, look at the chat.
If the guy I saw it. if are you talking about Austin or about me?
Austin.
They said about me. Okay, Austin. Okay. So I don't agree with that at all, but that's okay. But the thing is that, Penn State just kneels the ball, they win because Indiana was out of timeouts.
Yeah.
But they scored. And to be fair, Franklin was screaming his off, telling Neil, go down. Dude didn't do it. Now that should have been communicated better prior. Be like, all right, if we get a first, let's kind of like end the game here. But it didn't. And so in Carolina, the same thing against App State. Mac Brown, is Hall of Fame as he is, right? Well, North Carolina guy didn't go down and gave App State another chance in that game a couple of years ago. Will probably remembers that game. But the thing is it happens. But Franklin has had a lot of like bad moments in games. That wasn't his fault against IU, I guess.
He's the Les Miles of the Big Ten. That's what I've said for years.
That Les Miles Tennessee game years ago, man. Oh.
Just brain farts galore during football games.
The reason I get so heated up about Penn State is because on the one hand, I get frustrated with their fans because it's like 95% of teams in college football would love to be Penn State.
Yeah.
So that's my problem with their frustration because like, oh my gosh, Franklin's got to go. This is unacceptable that we go 11-1 and we can't win the big game. It's like, dude, you're 11-1, that's amazing. Like again, before this past year, Indiana would have never dreamed of having a Penn State like year, which we just did.
It's like a rich guy complaining about having too much money.
Yes. Yeah. So that frustrates me. But then on the other hand, I understand their frustration because it's like they're this close.
Yeah, that's true.
They're this close. They're legitimately this close. Ohio State has not been dominating Penn State. When I was a kid,
No.
that's what they did. Every time I watched Ohio State, they blew the doors
There we
off
go.
of Penn State. Last few years, Penn State, they're right there.
Right, no. 17 and 18, they could have beaten us. They blew 2-score
I
leads
was
in the
talking
fourth
about when I was
quarter.
a kid. Like
Yeah.
2010, 2011,
okay.
12, 13.
Okay.
Just murder. Before, what's his name?
They were good
The
with
quarterback.
They were
Who was the
good.
quarterback back then?
Clark was good for them.
Yeah, the Daryl Clark. That was like
Yeah.
the end of the Paterno era, right?
Yeah,
Well,
they were good then. I remember.
Who was
Yeah.
the quarterback back then? Dr. Buckeyes. It's slipping my
the
mind.
McSorley teams.
McSorley.
Yeah,
Couldn't
no. His best team, I've always said, was his 17 team.
They
Yeah.
The
blew.
McSorley,
I still couldn't believe they lost.
Saquon.
They lost to Sparty that year too. I couldn't.
Yeah, they had a
believe it.
bad loss to Sparty. I think they had a hangover after losing that 15-point fourth quarter
Yeah,
lead,
maybe,
which
yeah.
will be known as the JT Barrett game. JT Barrett had 2 all-time big-time games at Ohio State, 14 against Sparty and 17 against Penn State, where he went postal and played incredibly well.
Well, gentlemen, what
Yes.
else we got going on tonight? Because we got another caller waiting in the wings for
All
a
right.
little bit.
Well, no, I just want to say I love the show. I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you guys for a while. Always good to see Will. And it was a good show last night, by the way. Leon Herring, by the way, does a great job with Mark talking portal and recruiting. So people should definitely check that out, by the way.
Great. I mean, Leanne is the Patrick Mahomes of recruiting insiders. This is what Mark Rogers himself said on the State of the Voice College Football Address on February 24th, 2025.
There you go.
And that's one thing I made sure to do with a couple weeks ago when I was giving guest suggestions to Feinbaum was I made sure to let Feinbaum know you want to have Leanne Herring on the Feinbaum show because she is the Patrick Mahomes of recruiting insiders. So,
Great job. Good show tonight, guys.
Awesome as always hanging with
Appreciate
you,
you
Dr.
both for coming
Buckeye.
on and love the
Take
Penn
care.
State discussion. I haven't talked about them in a while.
I'm sure the Alabama fans were crazy about us having a Penn State discussion tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're getting close to football, so we're getting a little off the rails, but we love it.
Got the clock going, Jackson. Get the clock going, buddy.
I plan to as always. 23 hours, 45 minutes till midnight of, Saturday in Jeffrey's time zone. Jeffrey's like, oh, God. All right, well, what else we got going on, good buddy? We saw that you went on with Ben.
I was on, yeah. Ben wanted me to come on to see if the Oregon could replace USC as the
Hey, that's
rival.
a funny theory there. That'd be funny. I will say that dumb on that was USC's doing, right?
I don't care whose doing it is.
That's
mad.
dumb to get rid of that rivalry.
I know.
I
Right?
didn't want to say it was dumb, and then it was Notre Dame who did. I did not read.
No, yeah, they want an easier schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and
like
they're
a skill issue to me.
And they're like, join the conference, join the cup. It's like,
yeah.
You're disrespecting.
Bad for the sport. Bad for the sport. To lose
I know,
a game
right?
Like that.
Like I had a bit of a hissy, well, not a bit, but a humongous hissy fit Sunday night where I hurled a few F-bombs on After Dark.
Hey, Jackson, here's the thing. College football is not for us anymore.
I know.
It's not for the common fan. And especially not for people like us, the common fan who also has knowledge of the game. Like us three here, Dr. Buckeye, all of our chat, you guys are amazing. Appreciate you for tuning in always. But people like us, we tune into the game. We pay attention to the game. We love the game. We've grown up with the game. Whether 50 years ago for some, 10 years ago for others, we love this stuff, and all these changes, they're not for us. They're not in our best interest.
It's kind of feel like it's trying to appeal to the Oscar Kokoschkas of the world.
Oh yeah, well, if you're using that as a direction, I mean, that's always going to fail. No one should be appealing to a guy like that.
Oh, I couldn't help but throw that reference out tonight because I mean, it's like you got to,
Oh, honey, I'll find a job. I'll get back on my feet.
I know we should sue. I'll do it tomorrow. Like, oh my god, it was like when I saw that Jungle movie several years back, it's like, oh no, thank
That
God for
movie
her.
came out almost a decade ago at this point. My lord.
Yep, it'll be 8 years ago come November 20.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Time is flying. I remember when that just came out, and it's like, dang, that was 8 years ago.
Oh man,
Unreal.
but thank God that Susie left that douchebag Oscar. He's a bum, bum. All right, well, we'll be seeing you
I'll
later.
see you
good luck.
guys.
Appreciate you coming on, Will. Have a great night.
I had a good Memorial Day call with Allers Irish too. If you guys want to look at that.
Oh, definitely have to check that out, man.
Absolutely, man. We'll
Happy
make sure.
Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day.
Memorial
It's
Day.
come and
Memorial
gone.
Day.
I think I wrote it in like our chat, right? Like I wrote it. No one responded
did.
though. I was like, why did
Yeah.
nobody respond?
Oh, I didn't even look at Discord on that day. Sorry,
Everybody
man.
was just not. They must have been, having a good time on Memorial Day, taking a break. Now, I was too. I had a great Memorial Day. It was a blast. But yeah, I was not on. I wasn't really engaging on the social media world on Memorial Day. So I don't blame you.
Although I did call in on a couple shows Monday night, where it's like,
I took an all-day break, man.
Oh man, it's like that. But we got a good buddy of ours, Lucas Hill, calling in. How you doing tonight, man?
Fellas, I haven't seen y'all in a hot minute. It's been a while since I've called in, hasn't it?
I know, right?
Yeah, it's
like,
been a while. When I saw you pop up, then I was like, Lucas. Like
Oh man, I haven't seen you since January when I appeared with you on the Inside the Huddle channel.
It's
That was
gotta
awesome.
been that point. Yeah, man, it's been it's been a while. But I've kind of been taking a step back with just finishing up this semester off, but we're back up and rolling, so excited to get back to them. Jeffrey, you raised an interesting point when it came to expansion. It pretty much, I came up with this quote in my head.
Mhm.
The cost of mediocrity is disappointment. Here's why I say that. And I want everybody that's in the chat to listen to me. When the college football playoff decided to expand from 4 to 12, it gave more opportunity. We now accept mediocrity. We accept 9-3s. We accept 8-4s. Now you want to expand to 6 to 16, and you're going to see more of this. Why are we accepting this now?
Mhm.
I understand people are going to say, oh, Ole Miss got robbed. They were the better. Oh, we've had 8-4 teams that do this. 9-3s. Give me the 12 best teams in college football in the playoff. Give me straight. I love the straight seeding. We actually get an opportunity to get the 12 best. We don't get matchups like Boise State and Penn State or SMU and Penn State. Or, no offense, Jeffrey, we don't get Indiana and Notre Dame, which honestly, it was a better matchup at the end of the game.
Yeah, Indiana actually tried to make it interesting. And I defended IU by saying they made it interesting, but I know it wasn't. But still, I agree. My thing with just to before you get back to your point, with Indiana, people frustrated me to death with Indiana last year because they were like, Indiana shouldn't have got in. And I'm like, these same people are the ones clamoring for this expansion. They were happy with the expansion to 12. They want the expansion to 16. And I'm like, you don't get that if it was never expanded at all, Indiana would not have been in.
It shouldn't have even been expanded anymore. You should have just limited it to 8. 8 was your magic number.
Yeah, and guess what? You know what Indiana was ranked at the end of the season in the CFP rankings with straight season? With straight seeding? 8. They were 8. So
it would have been a better matchup with Tennessee and Indiana.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you got one of the best offenses in football. I don't care that you played 6-5, 6-5 teams, 7-5 teams. You're beating people to sleep. That's what puts you in the game. And look, Last Chance U, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Last Chance U. Guys, season 1 and 2, East Mississippi, to get into a national championship, you got to beat people to sleep. That's exactly what Indiana did. That's exactly what past champions have done. You beat people to sleep, you prove yourself on the field, and you prove that you're one of the best teams out in college football. They did that last year. I don't care that you lost to Ohio State. And in my defense, I'll defend Indiana in that one. You went into Columbus and hung in there for a little while. But I'll be honest, you shot yourselves in the foot. You turned the football over. And to be honest with you, if you wouldn't have, you probably still would have lost, but it wouldn't have been as bad as the scorecard indicated, as the box score would have indicated. That's my only thing when it came to Indiana.
Yeah, it just frustrated me with Indiana, though, because, like I said, people said they shouldn't have got in. And if they never expanded the playoffs to 12 and they had left it at 4, then Indiana never would have got in.
If that's the case, then SMU shouldn't have got in then.
SMU was the worst team that got it. Flat out. They were
the worst. In my opinion, SMU had a better team in 23 than they did this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Telling you straight up. Look, and people are going to look at this and say, well, SMU lost to – what did they lost to? Didn't they lose
they
to
lost
Louisville?
to BYU week 2, and they lost to Clemson in the ACC title game. And
does anybody remember the Duke game this past year?
Oh, yeah, that was a
SMU turned the ball over like 8 times in that game.
Yeah, that was –
They beat Duke like 22-20.
Yeah.
Duke had one of the worst. Duke turned it over 7 times, didn't they?
That game was insane. I watched the game. Yeah, SMU was not a playoff caliber team. But again, why did SMU get in? Because the playoff was expanded. So that allows this. It allows more teams that don't deserve to get in, air quotes, to get in. And if you expand to 16, you're going to have even more of this. You're going to have even more teams that people are going to say, oh, this team didn't deserve to get in. Who gives a crap who gets in when you're talking about the 16th best team? That team isn't even going to win at all, ever. So it's like what mattered at max was 8. 4 was every team that made it in a 14 playoff, except like the exception of Cincinnati, rare season that happened, was a team that could win it all, practically. 8 you would have had maybe with 8, maybe a team or two, you're like, But with 12, you're giving yourself the opportunity to have SMU. You're giving yourself the opportunity to have Indiana, Boise State, these teams that don't deserve to get in. And now with 16, if it goes to that, which it probably will, it's going to be even worse. But these people that are complaining about this are still in favor of expansion. Typically, those people are. And I don't understand that because you are contradicting yourself. You are being a hypocrite saying that you don't want these teams that don't deserve to get in, but yet you're in favor of expansion, which allows this to happen.
G5 at this point is a joke.
Yes, because all the good G5 teams have moved to Power 4.
Exactly. And even in those G5s, you're going to see teams like Boise State. You're going to see look, there's no ill will towards Boise State, UNLV. I would even throw Sac State in there once they move up officially into that G5 rankings, because I promise you Sac State is going to be a contender for a CFP in the near future. I love Brennan Marion. I love the culture he's brought. I've evaluated a lot of these guys. Guys, I'm a part-time scout. Unofficially, but I've watched plenty of film while on my downtime. I've seen a lot of these dudes at Sac State. You better be ready. That's all I'm going to tell you, because Sac State is about to make a run in the near future. When you have a guy like Brennan Marion at the helm, who has plenty of experience, is one of the best young coaches out there, I promise you, this is going to be a guy that is a future P4 head coach. But right now, it wouldn't surprise me if Sac State makes an early run to a college football playoff. I know it's too early to say, but I just love the direction of where Sac State is at, going from the FCS to the FBS right now. But to your point, Jeffrey, you mentioned earlier, too, about Indiana this year. Dare I say this? And this is going to be probably a bold take, and I don't think it's going to happen, but hey, Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winner. Goodbye. Look, you have to understand me.
Curtis Rourke finished 8th in the Heisman voting with a torn ACL.
And you've got one of the best signal callers out there. And you think about what Fernando Mendoza, and in my opinion, Fernando Mendoza brings so much more than what Rourke does. Rourke was a pocket-style passer. Mendoza, you get him on the ground game, that dude can make moves.
Steve makes an excellent point.
Thank you.
The fans
This is
aren't
a
pushing it.
money grab at
It's
the
all
end
money.
of the day. It's been about money. It's always going to be about money, and it's all about TV. This is what you see. That's why the house settlement that's about to come out, you make the college football playoff, the money that you get from ESPN, Fox, NBC, CBS, everybody that's going to do a 16-team playoff, the more teams that you get in, the more money that is going to be driven into those respective programs. That's
There we
exactly what's going to happen at the end of the day, especially with what you have. I'm the Mississippi Gardner Minshew. Close. I'm the Louisiana Gardner Minshaw.
It's got me, the networks, like, it's got me thinking about that George Carlin clip from his 2005 comedy special where he said, it's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. But on a brighter note, I decided to come bearing gifts and decided to gift a YouTube membership for Alabama with the Voice of College Football. Got by the SC, as he says, we have a new member. But who is that new member exactly? It is RDG4242. Congratulations. You are now a new YouTube member of Alabama at the Voice of College Football. RDG4242. We'd love to see
It's
you on
awesome
here
on that. Definitely a Jackson being very giving. I will say again, talking about the fans versus money, people don't understand how dangerous money can be when it is the main focus. Money is important. You have to have it to live. You have to have it to have a house and a car and clothes and food and all that. But when it's your only mindset, it's your only focus. And when these people that have a ton of money and these networks, people fail to understand sometimes how much money these networks have. They are rich and they want to get even richer. And how they get even richer is by the playoff expanding because of the fact they can advertise the heck out of it more. It's longer. It's more views, more games, more merch, whatever. All that stuff is true. And that's why I said earlier, Jackson, with the USC Notre Dame going away, all of these decisions is not for the common fan. For us. I mean, we're all fans here, but we also know the game. We're not just like the casual. We're like, oh, yeah, we're sitting drinking beer and we're watching a couple football games a year. Like, yeah, this is great, man. No, like we analyze this stuff to death. We watch these games to death. Week in and week out.
We do this as a job.
Yeah, but we're still fans. We're not like super professional here. We're not like the ESPN people, but we're also still people that, like you said, it's a job, but we're still fans.
I don't mean to brag, but
it's not for us.
I kind of am.
Well, you. I mean, me and Jackson, it is a job. But you know what I'm saying. It's a job / fan. So it's like that borderline. And there's a big difference because a lot of these people that are in the heavy up media and and the people that are in the CFP, the board, some of them aren't even football fans. They don't care.
Hey, we need to replace the board with just former players and get rid of athletic directors. They're not helping.
Yeah, because
you bring in athletic directors, you're going to bring more bias in. We need to have non-biased, no media, no ADs, former players, former coaches. All of which that have coached at a specific school, all that are in the top 25 and those that are being considered for the college football playoff. So I would bring in Tom Osborne. I would probably bring in Saban. I'm bringing 4 from a different conference, 4 more, at least 3 from the same conference. So that we can align it to 12, and then when you get into next year, I don't know how that'll work, but you got to have some sort of non-bias when it comes to the selection committee because right now it's a disaster.
Yeah,
it's a joke.
People should not be in charge of stuff that do not know what they are in charge of.
Thank you.
That is the major problem with not just sports, but with a lot of stuff in this world. That you have people in charge that know nothing about what they are in charge of. We do. Exactly. We're not in charge. We talk about it, And again, like someone pointed out earlier, someone said it again. Steve, fans are not pushing for this crap. I've been against, like, I sound like a boomer, people say. I don't care. But I've been against all these changes practically. I mean, some of them in moderation. I'm like, all right, the portal, all right, but it can't be like this. Moderate it somewhat. NIL, I'm not against it, but the way NIL is being done right now is terrible. But the fans,
It's gone out of
we
hand.
don't want this.
I think
need
it's
college
gone out of
football.
hand at this point.
NIL is nuts, man. I mean, when you're having Alabama struggle with NIL, we have a problem.
Oh.
We have a problem.
When
We
you
have a
see
massive-
all the great coaches that were in college football just start to dip because of the BS that's going on with NIL, you see the Jaden Rashada lawsuit. That should have been a red flag
the
immediately.
Jaden Rashada lawsuit was such a big deal for like a month, and then it just faded away. No one talked about it anymore. Like you said, that was the red flag. I talked about it for a long time. I was like, yeah, that's going to keep happening, and then people see the Nico stuff.
Yeah, and
That's the
I
norm
talked
now.
to the guy. I talked to the guy who wrote the article, and he was shocked that this didn't get this much attention for so long. I'm surprised there hasn't really been any more updates as to this. I thought this should have been a red flag in 23 when all this broke. Then you have the breaking news that comes out, 6 or 7 months ago about this lawsuit? This should have told you immediately that NIL has gotten out of hand. Initially, when it was brought back, it was supposed to be about names on the back
name,
of
image,
jerseys
and
at the
likeness.
student
That's
store.
what's so funny. The name NIL, name, image, and likeness, is not even what's being utilized at all. Because what it was supposed to basically, from what I understood, and I was not against, it was supposed to be, if you were good, like, hey, I'm the best receiver in college football. I can market the heck out of myself. Be like, yo, I got jerseys here. Like, I'm good. You probably want to buy my jersey because I'm good. I could do, I could sell something. I could put my name on something like George Foreman. I could do something cool like that and make money, name, image, and likeness. But then it became donors and all these deals that have nothing to do with what it was about. And it's so funny that it didn't take 10 years for this to happen. It took 1.
Yeah. I mean, Jeffrey, I'm telling you this as somebody that has been around the game of college football. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you know how they used to have those little lunch bags full of money and you used to slide them under the table? Mm-hmm. It's still going on today.
Absolutely.
They're just not telling anybody. Mm. That's what people don't want to tell you nowadays. Mm. Everybody wants to say, you sign this contract, you get this sort of money. No, you're still getting under the table agreements. But to your point, too, more of that has gone on. I saw something that was posted about Kirby Smart having all of his recruits, those that have committed to the program, that are getting X amount of dollars per month. If they decide to either decommit or hit the portal, they have to give that money back. We need to have that right now in college football.
I agree. I mean, because like that, if you do not fulfill your contract,
you need to get rid of the national letter of intent because it means nothing.
Yeah,
anymore.
It doesn't mean anything. It was supposed to mean something. Like you're saying you're going. Like you're signing like a piece of paper saying like I'm coming to this school, but then I decommit. Oh, okay. Unless a coaching change, you shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, is that when you have a contract, that's supposedly what they're doing, right? Like you have a contract that says I'm gonna go to Georgia on a 3-year contract for $6 million. If that's the case, if you transfer after 1 year, you don't get the rest of the money. That's why I don't even like it when it comes to professional athletes, where you'll see like guys, right? You'll see like players, they have guaranteed money, but then they have their extra money. If you just miss time, say like load management or something it like comes up where you just miss time, like I don't want to play today, right? I mean, if you get hurt, it's different. But if you're just not playing, these guys still get paid. Think about normal America. Yeah. You go to work at Walmart. If you tell Walmart and say, you know what, Walmart, I don't feel like coming in today to stock the shelves because I don't feel good. I just don't feel like it today. Guess what? You don't get paid. You don't get paid that day. You don't have this guaranteed contract where you get paid whether you show up or not. That's in normal America, so why doesn't it happen in sports?
Didn't get drafted in the first round too.
Yeah.
So I love that. And you're absolutely right, Jeffrey, because we're getting to that point. I said it several months ago. We're going to have holdouts in college football. Bam. What happens the month after? Nico Iamaleava doesn't want to show up for spring practice. He goes to UCLA and gets paid less than what he was getting at Tennessee because of California taxes that are skyrocketing through the roof.
He's on a crap team.
With a crap offense.
It's like literally you went from Tennessee, a top 15 school, where you have all this coverage. People care. Tennessee fans care, to go to UCLA where no one gives a crap and the team sucks. Like, and now people don't like them.
Here's the difference between coaches and players. Players don't have buyouts. Coaches do. So if they want to get out of their contracts, they pay a buyout.
Plus, coaches also coach every game. They don't usually miss games. Players miss games.
You have to. I mean, it's part of your job requirement.
Yeah. But plus, players, though, they're not required.
We have dealt with this is the entitlement of today's athletes at 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, which is in my demographic. I'm 21 years old, Jeffrey. I just turned 21 in February.
That's how old I am.
And
you look about 10 years older than me because I look a lot younger, but we're the same age.
I'll be honest with you. I was shocked to hear that Jackson was 27. I thought he was like 22.
How old do I look? I mean, people think I look 15.
Oh, but I told Jeffrey, I was showing my sister one of our videos, and she was like, he looks 16. I'm like, that's because you don't know him.
I mean, it's fair. That mustache, man. I mean, it makes it look a big difference between you and I. I mean, it just does.
I thought you were older than me. Not want me to cut it off. She will kill me if I shave this thing off. She said, if you cut this off, we're through.
Well,
so I was like, hey.
Gotta do what you gotta do. It's like some people. I love some, like you have some of these dudes that have these beards, man, like down to their, like their waistline, man. They're like, oh well, the wife, she likes it, so I gotta do it. I gotta look like Santa Claus. I'm like, okay, all right, I don't know, man.
There you go. But no, that's exactly most of what we're talking about now is why Saban wanted to get out of the game. It's because of these athletes and what he had to deal with in 23.
Saban's contract was till 2029 or 2030.
And he got out of it because he saw the BS that was coming. He had to experience that a little bit. He probably had to for the first two for in 22 and
honestly,
23.
That's to me the biggest reason why Alabama was starting to decline a bit. You saw the cracks. You saw it. Like it wasn't much, but you saw. I did. After 2020, we were never the same. The Bryce Young years, you were seeing cracks. And if Saban had stayed, we would have never got to the top again. I don't know. I think so. I think that we would have never got back to the top under Saban again with the new rules. I don't think so.
Because it's so wide open now. Because the freaking portal is so wide open, because the money is so out there, and until this house settlement comes in, you're going to have all these donors, you're going to have all of these outside sources that are coming in and start pouring money into the program. We're talking millions and millions of dollars that's about to get dumped into the program's NIL fund, and they're going to strike deals like Bryce Underwood got. Like what Jaden Rashada was supposed to.
He wanted to play for LSU.
And then the money started to go up.
He wanted to play for LSU. I mean, I cannot believe we're at a point where a player wants to play for a school, his dream school.
Who's going to run the football about 75% of the time.
And then goes to another school because money. And again, I don't blame him. But
SMU did it in the 80s.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so broken. It is so freaking broken.
That's why, look, I love and hate the NCAA. And I was talking, y'all know Jake Crane from
Crane and Company at the
Crane and
Daily
Company?
Mark. Yeah.
Yes.
We spoke in February. We're ready for the NCAA to be abolished.
It's
to be
getting
honest with you,
close. I wouldn't be shocked.
By the 2030s. I said this to Jake. I said that the NCAA will be abolished, and he wouldn't be surprised if it was abolished sooner. We're going to have this Super League come in, and with the House settlement coming in, that's when you're going to start seeing there's good and bad when it comes to the Super League, because I looked at the proposal that they're putting out there that this judge or some other congressperson put out there, and it has some sort of restrictions on I think they want to do less than 20 million for the revenue that's going to come in, which I think is kind of stupid. I mean, especially for a Power 4 program where your budget for
Especially
NIL
when it's
has
a
to
career
expand.
politician.
What's that?
Especially when it's a career politician.
Oh my
trying
gosh.
to-
Politicians shouldn't even be involved in college football.
No,
I don't understand how we got
no.
to this point.
And if they're gonna be involved in college football, they need to be making sure they bring back some of the old rivalries.
I mean,
other than
Kurt
that, I have
Signetti,
no use for politicians college football.
Kurt Signetti never would have gone to Indiana unless there was a commitment to football. He said so himself. And as good as Signetti is, without that commitment to football, last year don't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Indiana is benefiting from this. They're benefiting from the NIL rules. Not that they're going to be the best, but they can compete now because they're actually giving a crap and they're spending money and they're getting players. And that's why they're good. They have a great staff that got brought in because of this.
Yes.
The downside to that, though, is that while Indiana's gotten better, they'll still never be up to the top because they can't reach it.
But I will say this, though. If Indiana, even if they go 8-4, 9-3 and miss the playoff, you got to look at the long history of Indiana. Jeffrey, you know this. This is Indiana we're talking about.
They've only had like 5 8-win seasons of all time.
And if you can stay consistent with Signetti there and know that you're going to stay in that 8-4, 9-3 range for the next couple of years, as an Indiana fan, you're more than happy to invest some of your money into the NIL program. And you're happy with those wins. You're happy with these records.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why programs like Wisconsin are struggling so bad because they're not doing well. They're not doing
they
well.
extended Luke Fickell after a 5-7 season blows my mind.
I don't get it either.
I thought
at least
Fickell
like
was
Michigan
gonna be on
State
his last-
extended Mel Tucker when he had a good year, even if it was fluky and everyone knew it. But at least with Fickell, it makes no sense.
Now, in my defense of Mel Tucker, I thought he got thrown under the bus 2 years ago, but I think they wanted him gone anyway.
They
but I
did.
do love what Jonathan Stewart. What is his name? What is it? What is his name again? The coach at Michigan State,
Jonathan Smith.
Yeah,
Smith.
Jonathan
I was
Smith.
thinking of Stewart.
Yeah, the running back for the Panthers. Yeah. When you said, I was like Jonathan Stewart. I'm like, I haven't heard that name in forever. But yeah, Jonathan Smith. Yeah, he's got an uphill battle. That Michigan State, though, he's got an uphill battle. I think he could do it. I think he'll survive, and Fickell probably won't. But Jonathan Smith's got an uphill battle because the Big Ten suddenly has gotten better with Oregon and Washington, USC. You know, USC's bad, but they're still something.
Honestly,
and then Indiana, Illinois have gotten better. It's a lot of competition for Michigan State. Go ahead, Jackson.
Honestly, I wish a lot of these teams would just chill the hell out with these coaches. I really wish they'd chill out. Like, just give them at least 5-6 years.
I miss the era. I'm sorry. Like, I know it meant mediocrity, but I miss the era of like Middle Tennessee State keeping Rick Stockstill for like 8 billion years because he went like 8-5 like 8 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just kept the guy, and then they finally got rid of him, and it's like NIL. Like, it affects those little schools too, because I think before all this, Stockstill would still be there. He would.
Frank Beamer is a perfect example. Like, first few years, down the toilet. But then by 1995, he's getting things rocketed rolling in Blatts.
It's like people say Mike Krzyzewski had 3 losing seasons at Duke before he won anything in basketball. 3 losing seasons. Today, you have 2 losing seasons to start your tenure. You're gone. How do you even know how it's going to turn out? Sometimes it takes time, but it's instant gratification because people are looking at it. People are looking at it that you can just instantly flip a team. Now, with NIL, the portal, that you can become good like Indiana, 3-9 to 11-2 overnight. And that's why they're not giving coaches time anymore.
Everybody wants to be, Colorado got one of the best quarterbacks. They got one of the best dual threat guys in Travis Hunter. Oh, they got all the Sanders brothers. And they go 4-8 their first year. You spent all that money for what? Another 4-8 season? And even then, this year, not really a whole lot changed, except the competition got weaker because you played in the Big 12. Let's get real about Colorado now, because honestly, they're a joke.
They lost to Nebraska.
Who's got one of the worst offenses in college football, with a quarterback that they hyped up and said was going to be this great thing. And look, I'm not downplaying the kid. He still has a lot of work to do. And I understand that it was his freshman year. But for a guy that had all this hype in about, he's going to be this next Patrick Mahomes, if he wouldn't have came in with his antics, maybe we would have given the kid some slack. Because of this, sorry. You did
all
it to
that
yourself.
crap. I mean, did you see? I'm not gonna touch too hard, but you saw on X where people were trying to claim, you know what, about him getting drafted in the 5th round. Cam Ward was drafted 1st overall. I don't see anything to do with that. Maybe it's because Shadur isn't that good. Maybe it's because Shadur did this. Maybe it's because Dion did this. Maybe that is why Shadur got drafted in the 5th round. It has nothing to do with blah, blah, blah. Because 80% of the sport, people. No. X has morons. A lot of morons on there. That Shadur, there is nothing. Dion hate, maybe. You could go as far as say Dion hate, but it has nothing to do with where you get drafted, man. If it had anything to do with that, why did Bronny get drafted? Because LeBron told him to. That's why. Shadur Sanders got drafted where he belonged. The end. Now it's up to him to prove whether he's better or not. Brady was drafted in the 6th round, best quarterback of all time. It don't matter where you get drafted. It's what you do after it.
When you flap your gums in an interview and you say that, you're not good, you deserve to be at a team that's better than where you're at now, that's what's going to kill you. If you go to an actual job interview and you say, I want to make this amount of money. If you want to make, let's say you're going into a career that pays $50,000 a year, and you say, well, I'm better than that. I need 10 or 15% more than what I'll be earning. No problem, dude. We'll go on to the next candidate. We don't need you. That's exactly what happened with Shedeur.
You have to prove your worth. You don't tell people what you are worth.
And
you
I think
prove your worth.
I love how this is all correlating back to the expansion. You got to prove that you belong. You got to prove that you earned that top status. You've got to prove that you earned to be in the CFP. That's why Ole Miss got left out. That's why Alabama got left out. That's why South Carolina got left out, despite the late run.
South Carolina, man, I will defend them because that LSU game was crap. But
as somebody that is from Baton Rouge, they got really screwed in that one.
Yes,
I listened to a lot of post-game shows after that one, and I listened in, and I was like, there is absolutely no way I'm hearing this, because I'm hearing guys like, y'all know who Blake Ruffino is or are familiar with AYS Sports? So I heard him. I heard my former employer, Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered, talk about this. LSU is very lucky the officials were on their side in Columbus, because if South Carolina gets that win, if Lenore Sellers doesn't get hurt, South Carolina would be punching their ticket to the college football playoff at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, they were darn good. And they should have beat Bama, too. They blew that game. They blew that game. But with LSU, man, they got absolutely screwed. Brian Kelly should be fired.
I wouldn't say so, Jeffrey. You're contradicting what you just said. After 2 seasons of mediocrity, somebody should be fired. Okay.
No, the only reason I'm saying Brian Kelly should be fired is because he actually isn't any good.
I wouldn't say he's not good. He underperforms, and that would differentiate between him being not good and him underperforming. I'll kind of defend BK on this one because this is the first full year where I actually have confidence in this transfer portal class. And LSU's transfer portal class of what they have.
He's been there 3 years.
And this is probably the best one that they've had in BK's 3 years that they've been.
This is his fourth year.
Even with Jaden Daniels and all the guys that you've gotten from the portal, you loaded up in the wide receiver room. And you guys alluded to the early matchup that's coming up in week 1. LSU Clemson. How funny would it be for Clemson to go into Death Valley? Really, for LSU to go into their Death Valley, but you get my point. For Clemson to go in to have 4 dudes that they got from the portal, really only 3 because they added a basketball player. And to be honest with you, Dabo's just showing you why he didn't dabble into the portal because of all the BS that's going on. But for Clemson to go in to Memorial Stadium in Carolina and knock out LSU with the talent that Clemson has, I would definitely have Clemson as an early favorite to win that football game.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what that front 4 looks like. I look at Peter Woods. I look at Devontae Capehart. I look at TJ Parker. I'm looking at 3 draft picks on there. I'm looking at dudes that are going to get after a young LSU offensive line that just lost 2 All-American tackles.
Mm-hmm.
And as young as this LSU offense is, and people are starting to talk a little bit about how, they might be improvement from last year. Okay, go into week 1, and your first game is in Death Valley, in the Carolinas, at Clemson, when you've got 3 first-round caliber defensive linemen you got to face. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to deal with Nick Anderson coming back from injury. I don't even know if he'll be 100% by the time we get to fall camp.
Just to prepare y'all, if LSU does get beat by Clemson, which I hope Clemson does beat them, I'm going to be so obnoxious throughout Saturday and Sunday of that.
LSU has not won a week 1 game since 2019.
Yeah,
the year they won the national championship.
Yeah.
If you think it's starting today, you got another thing coming.
We're going to be waiting for an eternity like SpongeBob and Squidward, just looking like skeletons cleaning up the Krusty Krab.
I want to see the odds for this game because if Clemson isn't favored, I think it's disrespectful. You better take Clemson plus whatever. And whatever the over-under is, I'm betting the over. Because I don't know if I can trust this young offensive line with a Garrett Nussmeier back there. Garrett may have a tough time.
Garrett Nussmeier turns the ball over a lot. He loves to turn the ball over.
So does
I love
Drew
his
Allard.
stat lines. He'll be like 19 of 51 for like 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. It's
So
just
does
the
Drew
funniest
Allard.
crap.
Him and Drew Allard, to me, are the 2 most overhyped prospects in this year's draft.
Drew Allard is so overhyped.
We know Mel
In
Kiper.
his defense, they don't have the greatest receiver. That's fair. But
We know Mel Kiper
still.
is going to hype the holy crap out of Nussmeier and be like, he's the greatest quarterback in forever in all college football, which is the same guy that said, if Jimmy Colson doesn't succeed, I will retire from this business.
He
Guess
needs
what?
to retire already. He's a freaking joke. Have you seen that big old forehead that he's got? You could cook a steak on that. I mean, come on, guys. But no, I love what Steve said in the comments about Arch Manning too being overhyped. Oh my God. If I hear another thing about Arch Manning being a top 5 quarterback in a certain draft class, especially in 26, I'm gonna lose it. I don't even have
anything to prove it.
Quarterback this year.
It's the name. It's the name.
That's
Manning.
all it is.
It's all it is. He hasn't done anything. I will say, because you said I did contradict myself. I am for giving coaches time. I'm not all that. But Brian Kelly, fine. Give him a couple more years, but I don't think he's any good. I think Brian Kelly is overrated. I don't think he's awful, but I don't think he is good.
No.
And I don't feel like he's ever going to win big at LSU the way they want him to win, which is why I say fire him now. But in the sake of being consistent, fine. Give him more time. But with Jaden Daniels, man, that was pathetic to have the season they had with Jaden freaking Daniels. That's why I was defending Jaden Daniels for winning the Heisman. People told me, Jeffrey, Jaden Daniels shouldn't win the Heisman because he didn't win enough games. He's the reason they won the games they did.
Yes.
Like Lamar at Louisville.
How many times did Jaden Daniels bail out LSU?
Almost every game.
In games that they should have lost.
Especially what could have Missouri and Florida in 2023.
They could have turned what could have been a 6-6 or 7-5 season and turned it into a 10-win season.
And that's why Jaden Daniels
won the Heisman Trophy.
He's won the Heisman, and he's the only reason Brian Kelly does still have a job.
Let me ask you guys this. I'll ask 2 questions and then I'm out of here. Number one, if BK underperforms this year, how hot does the seat get?
If he goes 7-5, he is toasty, man. He is on fire.
Oh, yes. 8-4 is vote of confidence. Same with 9-3.
Yeah.
Like if you miss the playoffs, 9-3, 8-4, it's vote of confidence discussion. 7-5 is definitely scorching hot going in 2026. Same if you go 6-6. If you were to have a losing season, which I doubt that's even going to happen, but if that were to happen, then it's like, do we fire? We're firing this guy if he has a losing season.
Hey, John, I understand he's 29-11 at LSU. I understand that. But how many times have we gone into preseason and said LSU should be a college football playoff contender?
That is why it's not good enough. It's because of the fact of the expectations. If you're 29-11 in Indiana, then it's elite, it's insane, it's incredible, great job. But this is LSU we're talking about.
I mean, you go back, that 23 season, preseason number 5. You have Jaden Daniels. You have
they're not finishing where they're starting.
Exactly. You have apparently people were talking about the defense being a pretty strong point too. People were saying well, they're not really what they were when the Dave Aranda era was, but people were praising Matt House sometimes, especially after that Alabama game, for what he did isolating Bryce Young. And you go back the very next year, it's the worst defense in college football in all of LSU history, in my opinion. And you undermine it, and expectations aren't met. You don't make the college football playoff.
And the thing that's always that Brian Kelly cannot do is win a big postseason game. He couldn't do it at Cincinnati when they were in the Orange Bowl against Virginia Tech. And I mean, he left for Notre Dame by the time they were getting ready to play Florida in the Sugar Bowl. We saw how that worked out. Florida smacked them. And they couldn't win a natty at Notre Dame. No, Notre Dame couldn't get it done in 2012. They couldn't get it done in 2018. They couldn't win a New Year's Six Bowl under Brian Kelly.
Y'all remember the collapse they had in 2014, where they go from I think they were 4th or 5th. They lose in a controversial game to Florida State, and they lose 4 of the last 5, and end up.
Oh man, that call!
And who did they beat in the Music City Bowl?
LSU. And that was the last game that John Chavis was the defensive coordinator, and then Chavis left for Texas A&M, which I got to tell you, that dude looks like a mean pit bull.
I feel like the problem with Brian Kelly is that his entire career, it's always about underperformance. That he's on the cusp of being something great. That is why I feel so negative towards Brian Kelly. I don't think, again, there are people that think he's trash. I don't think that.
Right.
But when you are consistently this close and you can't take that little extra next step, there's something wrong, especially when you're at a program like LSU or at Notre Dame where winning a championship is possible. It's different if you're at a program like Oklahoma, where we can kind of agree that Oklahoma is not in an advantageous situation. They're behind. They're not LSU.
No.
You know, so it's like if Brian Kelly was winning 9 games at Oklahoma, we'd be like, cool. But this is LSU we're talking about. And LSU, when at their best, is capable of being a top 3 to 5 team every year, that type of program. And yet, Brian, and like you said, and you made the great point, Lucas, about where they start. They're always hyped. And that you can say that's the media's fault. But they're always hyped to be here. And the fans are like, this is our year.
Worse.
We're going to be 5th in the country. According to the media, we're the 5th best team in the country. And then they finish 20th. And then they send tons of guys to the NFL. And what do they got to show for it? Mediocrity for LSU standards. I agree that John's like can't live in the clouds, but it's LSU fan expectation.
I listen to Louisiana media and I compare it to Jackson, what y'all have. It's not even close. You guys are real about your expectations. I listen to guys in Louisiana. Their expectations are through the clouds. My expectations are I need this to explain. How are expectations too high for a program like LSU, which is consistently considered to be a national championship caliber program? That is an SEC championship caliber program.
With talent that is capable of doing that, but then it's not succeeding.
And money.
Yeah, I mean, LSU's got so much money. They have so much talent. There's no reason that Brian Kelly shouldn't be able to get them to the playoff. Now,
I talked to a guy that played baseball there. This past year, whenever he's a baseball player at LSU, they have to fundraise to make money for the football. It just depends on how their program does. In 23, when they won the Natty, they got in money like you wouldn't believe from donors, from boosters, all investing into the program, and all of that went into the portal. They had a stash like you wouldn't believe, and they invested it properly. LSU is starting to do the same thing. That's why you saw the great offseason that they've had. Now, you can have a great offseason, and you can get in all these stars, but at the end of the day, I know this. You guys have seen this. Everybody has seen this. Stars get you beat. In the words of Jason Brown from Last Chance U Season 3. The stars don't matter at the end of the day. The on-3 rankings don't matter at the end of the day. What do you put out on the field? And I've seen plenty of 5 stars that have busted on the field. Pause.
Yeah.
So, if expectations fall again for Brian Kelly and LSU this year, in my opinion, that seat has to warm up a little bit. I don't think it'll get to the point of where you're seeing where Billy Napier was last year, but I think that it's going to start to heat up because of the consistent expectations that are missed. It's
Did you feel that the heat on Billy Napier was fair?
Oh, yeah, no question about that. But I think here's the difference of what Billy Napier was able to do. He kept that recruiting class. He kept DJ Lagway. If he
saved his job.
If that 24 class saved his job, they knew they were going to keep him even before the season. While we were all talking about when is Billy going to be fired, is it going to be during this day or is it going to be during that day? So here's the thing. Because of that 24 recruiting class that he put together, his job was saved.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter what you finished. If you were able to keep DJ Lagway in Gainesville, then you succeeded. Then you were able to handle your business. And I don't think DJ Lagway is going to go anywhere. Because if that administration would have fired Billy Napier, Lagway would be in College Station right now. I don't think and I'll be honest with you, I don't think Marcel Reed would have been in College Station anymore.
Mm-hmm.
because that's where he would have gone. You heard the reports back in early October, early November. It was all likelihood that he was going to head out to College Station this next year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
imagine if Blackway didn't get hurt against Georgia. They could have won that game.
They were winning at the half, weren't they?
Yes, they were winning. And when he got hurt, they were up like 7.
And I think they brought in that either the third or fourth stringer from who was a walk-on from like Yale or something like that.
Yeah.
And
they hung in there. But they
with
lost.
A fourth string walk-on.
That's how bad Georgia was last year.
That's how overrated they were. I wouldn't say they were bad. That defense took it to that Texas offense. I'll give them that twice.
As long as Georgia has Mike Bobo as their offensive coordinator, the farthest they're going to go in the playoffs is like the semifinals. That's it. You're not going to see Georgia go to the national title as long as Mike Bobo is the
all right with me. It gives us a better chance of doing it.
Not with Gunnar Stockton as your quarterback either. You better hype up that 26 guy that you're bringing in, or if Ryan Silverfield can put something together in 25, which I don't think he will, but guys, it's midnight in our area.
Last thing, I still think Carson Beck going to Miami is funny. I still laugh so hard about that.
Going to chase, you think he's going to chase his woman? Nah, he's just chasing the bag, brother.
Yeah,
once he got to that Miami limelight, you knew it was over with. The nightclubs, all the different women that were there, it would have been too much for him. God bless Haley Cavender because she is very, very attractive. But Carson Beck, come on, dude. I bet you he was already cheating at Georgia. He was just hitting up different Miami girls that were in his inbox on Snap and just go with the flow from there. But guys, always a pleasure to come see y'all, man.
I'm always awesome.
Lucas. It was great talking to you, man.
Always awesome hanging with you, Lucas. Don't be a stranger, goodbye. We'll be seeing you later.
Y'all have a good night, fellas.
And we got our last caller of the night, Juju. How you doing tonight, man?
Good. How y'all doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing tonight, goodbye?
I'm doing great. It's nice to see you again, Jackson. I caught you at the Michigan show the other time. You called in a little late. Seemed like you guys. I decided to come over here one time. You guys are over here late. Seems like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes we're out late. Sometimes we're really not up late. But
yeah, we used to go live a lot. About a year or two ago, like frequently late at night, but we've cut that back. This is our late show on Thursday.
Yeah, I was just scrolling on YouTube. I found it. I was like, why don't I just go in and see how you guys are doing? But I just got a couple of questions for y'all regarding like Alabama.
Okay.
Interested to see what they do this year because I've always had the belief that, you know, in a Kalen DeBoer offense that you need an elite passer of the ball. Like, to do what he wants to do, going back to what he did at Washington, you know, that type of offense that threatens you deep. I never thought Jalen Milroe had it, which is why I feel like Michigan and other defenses could have their way because he holds the ball too long, in my opinion. So I do think Russell, I think he in time is going to be very good. So my question is, who do you guys think the quarterback this year? How far do you think Russell presses the issue, and where do you see the offense going this year?
I think our offense is going to be really dynamic for 2025 because like we've got a lot of star receivers and we've got a great tight end class for 2025. We are set, ready, and raring to go. If you look back at the videos that we made for Alabama with the Voice College Football, including the breaking news video where we go over our take on the guy from Troy transferring to Alabama and Jet Samarco coming over to Alabama.
Right.
You'll know about where we went over our take on how this is great for the Crimson Tide, regardless of who the quarterback is, whether we have Ty Simpson, Kalen Russell, maybe even Austin Mack, whoever the quarterback will be going into Florida State to start off the year, they're going to be really happy with the offense. That I can promise you. And
I was
Brian
really
Williams,
high on Keelan Russell at the beginning of the offseason. but everyone's pushing for Ty Simpson, so it seems like it's going to be him, but we still don't know. I do agree with Jackson, though. I think whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Russell or Simpson, with the offensive players that we have, I think will be better than last year because regardless, it's going to fit better for DeBoer than it was with Milroe.
Agreed.
How do you guys feel about offensive line?
We're definitely going to have to make sure we keep an eye on that because that's always key.
Our offensive line last few years hasn't been as good, but it does seem to be trending up, hopefully. I mean, our offensive line back when we had Mac Jones was incredible. And if you have that good of an offensive line, it's hard to lose. Stetson Bennett had it at Georgia, too. I think our offensive line is getting better, but I still don't think it's where it was in 2020. So definitely, hopefully, our quarterbacks, whoever gets the nod, can be able to withstand not having a perfect O-line. Because, man, that's why Mac Jones was good, because he had Devontae Smith and he had a great elite offensive line, no holes ever. I mean, I remember watching him just stand back there for like 10 seconds and not even having to move. We don't have that anymore. Plus, D-lines in the SEC are insane, so we'll see. I think that we are trending up, though.
And in today's like college football, I'm a firm believer in like you're gonna need, like, I wouldn't even say like true dual threat, but you're gonna need someone who can hurt you on the ground because the offensive line, unless you have a perfect offensive line, people are gonna get through. And the only thing that can make up for that would be a quarterback that's mobile, that can make up for the offensive line lacking a little bit. I just got one more question for y'all regarding Justice Haynes. Obviously, we picked him up out of the portal. I watched him since his freshman year. I watched him out of high school since Buford. I know a lot of people at Bama had concerns about him tiptoeing. I guess someone gives you guys insight. I felt like while going back and watching, he was a little bit misused, as well as concerns of tiptoeing. I did see it, but I want to get you guys' take on him.
I think he's going to do fantastic things at Michigan. I'm sad to see him leave Alabama. I'm just glad he didn't go to Auburn or Tennessee, to be honest. Because
and the thing is that's happening more often now, where guys transfer to rival schools, and I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah,
that's just like we already don't have loyalty, but now you're transferring to your rival. Like that'd be like a Michigan player going to Ohio State. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah, no doubt. We had that was a big NIL battle with Ohio State. South Carolina almost got him. Came in late, and we swooped him up.
I think he'll be good for Michigan though, because Michigan's offense is more tailored for him. That's why he left. I mean, it sucks because like here at Bama, we used to be running back U, and I think we still could be. But DeBoer's offense is just different. It's not as running back focused. Man, our running backs though, just
you guys have this running back. I mean, going all the way back to the days of Josh Jacobs when he was getting second round mock draft grades as a third string running back.
We had 3 great running backs at the same time. I mean, we had trying to feed them all. It's crazy.
There you go.
It sucks. I miss it. I miss the Derrick Henrys, Josh Jacobs, Brian Robinsons,
the Mark Ingrams, the Trent Richardsons, the Glenn Coffey,
TJ Yeldon, Eddie Lacy.
I was about to say.
Oh man,
you guys have always been running back.
Glenn Coffey, man, like that dude was a beast.
It kind of ended with Najee Harris, and our last gasp was Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs was like, boy, now he's doing great things for the Lions.
I love watching like the Johnny Musso highlights from 69-71, especially that like first touchdown he's making for Alabama against USC, where he just like dives over. He's just like diving over, like boom.
You guys have did you get season predictions for you guys yet?
We haven't given our preseason predictions yet.
Not yet.
I'm waiting on Lindy's magazine to release. I'm waiting for Phil Still's magazine to release. And then what I'll do is just kind of write in my predictions on my Phil Still magazine.
Yeah, we could do like when that happens, we could do like our preseason predictions. We can all do that. Johnny as well. And and then after that, see how they age. That's the fun part of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen your guys' schedule at all. I haven't looked at it.
Well, we start
with Florida State.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull that up, shall we? Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, we got Florida State start off the season. That's going to be on ABC. And we're playing Wisconsin. That's 11 a.m.
That's a W.
Oh, man. I just want to see if they'll have Sean Madonna and Greg McElroy call a game. Like, please make that happen.
I think that Florida
Please.
State game is interesting. A little. I mean, they upgraded a lot. I think they went and got Nebraska's DC. So I think he's good. I think he's a good DC. So I think they'll be a little
The
bit
revenge
improved.
game. There it is.
Yeah, that game at Georgia's tough. At South Carolina's tough. And then, like, the rest of it, as long as South Carolina, or not South Carolina, but as long as Tennessee and LSU in Oklahoma, like all those teams we take care of at home. I mean, 10-2 at worst, you would think. I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying you would think, like, because we don't normally lose at home. At South Carolina and at Georgia are the toughest to me, but you still can't overlook those home games either.
Juju, I'm going to be real honest with you. I've got South Carolina game revenge against us,
Mm-hmm.
but I
They're gonna be
think
good.
it's either going to be it could be Georgia or Auburn that can get us, honestly.
Yeah, only because it's at Jordan Hare. Other than that, that's it.
You guys are confident in your defense this year?
Anytime we've been at, like, we have not had a double-digit position game against Auburn since 2015.
Oh yeah, that
we usually win in Jordan Hare, but it's by the skin of our teeth, aka Isaiah Bond, Ja'Cory Brooks, both of those corner of the end zone touchdowns that we've had last couple times in Jordan Hare. We should have lost both games.
Well, your guys is, I mean, the Iron Bowl is kind of like the game. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a game in itself. You never really know. Like, you can throw the records out the book. When you step inside that game, you know, it's heated. Like, it's, who wants this shit more? Like,
I feel like Hugh Freeze and Auburn, they're going to get at least one of them.
The problem with Auburn is the fact that the last few years, ever since they got rid of Gus Malzahn, and they've been bad. The problem with Auburn is that they only show up for like 2 games a year. One's us, and then it's another game, whether it's Georgia or last year they beat A&M. They played great against A&M. It's like they'll have a couple games where they look really darn good, and you remember, like, hey, Auburn has dudes, Auburn has talent, and then if they go 6-6 and make a bowl game, then they suck against Maryland or whoever they're playing. They just choke. I mean, you remember they lost to New Mexico State before taking us to the end. We beat them, but they literally can't. They were a 4th down away from beating us. But the week before, they lost to New Mexico State. The problem with Auburn is they don't try game in and game out. They only show up when they want to.
Which I mean, I don't know how you guys. I think Hugh Freeze is fine. I don't know how you guys feel about him as a head coach. I think maybe he should achieve more than what he has. I just think, I mean, he's recruiting really well. So I think that might be the reason people oversee it. I mean, last class, he had a great class. But I just feel like he should be doing more in the SEC.
I agree. And if he doesn't in a year or two, then he'll be gone. I mean, it's just, it's the way it is. I mean, Hugh Freeze, everybody remembers what happened at Ole Miss, so it kind of, has tainted his reputation. But he can recruit. I mean, we all agree with that. But it's about translating it to wins and not having any off the field problems.
Yeah, I just got one more question for y'all regarding the defense. I'm not really familiar with guys' defense this year. I was last year. I'm really keeping up. How do you guys feel about your defense, strengths and weaknesses?
Our young guys are going to be better. Like, our secondary was very young last year. They're all back. They're going to be a lot more experienced from what they did last year. Our D-line looks really good. We plugged in a couple holes, and then other than that, most of our defense is back. So there is a lot of continuity. So I think it's going to be better.
Good. I know you guys last year. You pretty much, outside of being put in a bad situation in our game of the bowl game, that defense was. I mean, our offense was terrible, but
and it sucked watching our team in a bowl game not seem like they were trying. It really sucked because with Saban, I remember we missed the playoffs and we played Kansas State. And I know Michigan is way more talented than Kansas State, but I remember we played Kansas State in that bowl game a few years ago, and we killed them. We absolutely destroyed them. Like, we showed up, showed out, beat them by 40. And they had Deuce Vaughn. It's not like Kansas State was nothing. I know Deuce Vaughn was tiny. It's, bad matchup.
Yeah, but he's
tiny
still a
back.
playmaker.
But he was good. Like, the team wasn't bad. But then it's like we played Michigan last year, and like, yeah, okay, Milroe plays. Most of the guys play. They sucked. They didn't try. And I know Michigan's defense was really good, but it's like, man, we did not try in that bowl game.
Which I was very impressed, like, seeing that we had, our first rounders out, and I was impressed by how we kept up and everything. Like, it was very shocking to me, the game plan. You guys just, look, I give our team a lot of credit, but I will say, you guys look dead on the field. Look like you just didn't want to, just not
Saban
compete.
wasn't
Like,
allowed.
We were
just
at
looked
the,
like you didn't want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, we had like that Dante attitude from Clerks where he just goes, "I'm not even supposed to be here today." That was just not good.
Yeah, I mean, Saban wouldn't have allowed it. I mean, I know times have changed. I get it. Like sadly they've changed. It's not like it used to do with the hard-nosed coach, and all that. It's unfortunate, but Saban did not allow mediocrity. Like, we would show up every game, even if we didn't play our best, we still showed up. Like, that's why, like, it was so frustrating because, like, on the one hand, I'm like, credit Michigan, like, they showed up to play with all those guys out.
I mean, but Jeff, we had no business winning that game.
But then our team didn't show up, and it's like, I'm not used to that. That's what sucks. Like, I'm not used to seeing Alabama just not trying a game. I mean, that Oklahoma game, too, that's the game that kept us out of the playoff. We laid a complete egg against Oklahoma, and that never happened under Saban. And, like, we have to find a way to overcome that now. The board is going to have to find a way to overcome that in this new era of how can you get your players motivated for every game. Treat every game like it's the national championship or Auburn or whatever. Like, you got to go out there and try no matter who you play.
Which was interesting, that OU game, because their offense was damn near as bad as ours. Like, they couldn't pass the ball at all, just like we couldn't. So for them to put up that many points, it was glaring. Like, I was shocked at that game, like that OU game.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane that the OU game was worse than the Vandy game. And when the Vandy game happened, I didn't think anything was going to be as worse as the Vandy game. And then we had the OU game. I mean, we scored 3 points.
That's
3. In 2024. It's not like this was back in 2009 when we were beating LSU 9-6.
And I didn't feel like, oh, look, Brett Venables is a good DC, obviously, but I didn't feel like their defense that was world beaters.
No. Well, Milroe had the 2 pick sixes, I believe, right, Jackson? Was it 2 in that game? 2 pick sixes. I mean, that was most of their points, but still.
Yeah, that's 14 points. I mean, you only scored 10 points on, but when you
when Jeffrey and I did the Alabama-Oklahoma post-game show, it was basically a venting session.
Oh, yeah, I was pissed. I mean, and I usually do not get mad watching games like that.
I was kind of like...
normally when we lose, like, it's like, all right, like, it was a hard-fought game. We just fell short. And I'm okay with that. Like, I can accept losing if we try. But I was so mad because that Oklahoma game was trash. Like, it was complete and utter garbage. I couldn't even compliment Oklahoma because we were so bad. I mean, I couldn't.
That was
I was just like
what made it worse too was the fact that not only were the pick sixes, and I know like Oklahoma's defense, whatever, they were both just dumb passes. They were just dumb passes on Jalen Milroe's part. It wasn't even great defense.
No, he just basically seeing go. I don't know what he was seeing on the field, but I think you guys could have done way, way better. I think you guys are going to be in a better situation going forward. That's why I wanted your take on your quarterbacks, because I think your guys' room is a lot better without him, and it will continue. I'm very high on Russell. I think him and BU were the best 2 in that class. Bryce Underwood, I think they were the best 2 that come out of their classes.
Yeah, and I definitely hope, if Ty Simpson, isn't like lighting it up, that maybe Keelan Russell can come in and just shine like Lagway did last year for Florida. That would be great. But I mean, if Simpson proves himself and like fends off Russell, keeps the job, then that could be a great thing too. If Russell sticks it out, that's the thing that worries me now. I mean, I don't like thinking about it because it is what it is. The guy leaves, the guy leaves. But you got to worry about, hey, if I'm not playing, I'm gonna leave. But now, I mean, we're seeing Nico, so anything can happen now.
Has he had any playing time, or you have a first time starter in your room?
Ty Simpson and Keelan Russell, obviously freshman. Ty Simpson's basically never really started at all. He's got like limited playing time because even at South Florida game, Tyler Buckner started, which was just insane. I don't know why.
I remember that.
And then Simpson came in after that. So,
what did you guys beat? You guys won that game like 10-3 or something?
Yeah, it was something like that. I think we ended up winning like 17-3, I think. But yeah, it was like 10-3 the whole game. We were horrible. And I know Saban was doing it to prove a point, but man, that game, oh boy.
You thought he did it to prove a point to the room?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what I think. Because he did it because Milroe threw the 2 picks against Texas. And then he benched him, started Buckner. We sucked that entire game. And then Milroe came back in. And then Milroe ended up playing a whole lot better after that. And then he fumbled against Michigan.
Yeah.
What year was that? That was
23. It's 2
23.
years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The when he didn't put the ball in the other hand, Quentin Johnson got him.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when we lost to Texas in 2023, it was the first time since 2007 that we lost a non-conference game at home.
And like I said, that's why Saban benched Milroe.
True, but it was the first time since the mid-2000s where we lost a non-conference game to a power opponent. And that, my friends, at home, by the way, that was at home. That was during the Shula year, the first one against Oklahoma in 2003.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't have a lot of great non-conference games at home either to lose. I mean, we lost the UL Monroe game in Saban's first season because it was Saban's first season, and we were coming off a crap year in 2007. And then after that, we got better, and it didn't happen again. But then we didn't play a lot of great non-con games. And then Texas, I mean, it was the last year that Texas wasn't a conference foe. So, I mean, that's why we went 20 years without a non-conference loss like that.
You guys don't have Texas on the schedule, right?
No.
Yeah.
We have like our biggest games again. We got Georgia,
South
Carolina,
that's right.
Tennessee, LSU, Auburn. And the only other game of note's like at Missouri, maybe. I don't know. That could be interesting.
At home versus Oklahoma, on the road against Florida State, and home against Wisconsin.
So
yeah, I think 10-2 is very reasonable.
10-2 should be the benchmark, and we'll make the playoffs if we do that. Obviously, if you go 9-3, I mean, I don't think DeBoer's gone. It's just more so like it depends on how they lose, and that's why I kept telling Alabama fans last year like that were so mad with being 9-3. I wasn't necessarily as mad that we went 9-3, knowing that it was his first year, knowing all the changes with player scheme. It's going to take some time, whatever. What irritated me about us going 9-3 is how we went 9-3.
Right. It's the way
we had a loss to Georgia and we had a loss to, Tennessee, and then the other one, like maybe like LSU. I don't freaking know. Something like that. Those 3 teams, close. Or South Carolina, and they were close. Maybe. You could be like, all right, we were this close to 11-1, all that. But the problem was we beat Georgia. We beat South Carolina, but then we lose to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma.
Then you lose to Vandy.
It doesn't make sense why we lost those 2 games, especially the Oklahoma game, the way we lost that one. But Vanderbilt as well. Like, those 2 should have been wins. We shouldn't have gone 9-3 beating Georgia. And what planet do we go 9-3 or 9-4 beating Georgia?
No, I agree, and I think it goes back to what you said is the unfocused, undisciplined.
Yeah. Pay, Steve. Well, I will say, to those that are watching the Alabama Call-In Show on Twitter /X, on the Voice College Football account, and my personal account, which is 139 people plus 148, which is 187 people total watching on Eds. Don't be afraid to come on in and like, comment, subscribe to Alabama The Voice College Football. It is youtube.com/@AlabamaVOCFB. Come on in, subscribe to Alabama at The Voice College Football. Tell your friends, your family, cashiers, and publics about the magic that we're creating all right here. Monday nights, Thursday nights on Crimson Tide Live, and Thursday nights on the call-in show, all right here. And of course, you can check out the Alabama Primetime Live show with Brady and Manny Tuesday nights. But I will say, though, you're going to be really excited with what we got coming your way on Alabama at The Voice College Football. Let's just say you're going to see a familiar face from a familiar YouTuber.
Hey, Jackson, I gotta point out this comment. Sorry to interrupt. I gotta point out this comment, man. Because Georgia is y'all's Super Bowl.
Bro, they've dominated this
What does that even mean, honestly? I mean, I'm sorry, King Brian. I know you're a Georgia fan. I see your profile. But we've beaten Georgia like 8 out of the last 10 times. Okay, and we've won 6 national championships in the last 15 years to y'all's 2. I don't get that. I mean, we can say we're both each other's Super Bowl. We can do that. That's fine. But if anything, if you want to say anybody's a Super Bowl, it has to be y'all, not us. I'm just saying. Like, I know we're kind of declined a little bit, but so are you guys. Georgia's kind of,
I mean,
so
even in
really
Nick
agree with
Saban's,
that.
yeah, even in Nick Saban's down years, I mean, head to head, he owns Kirby, bro.
Yeah. So.
I
don't agree with this either. Y'all beat us and lose to trash teams that don't make sense. I don't agree with that because before last year, that never happened. We never lost to bad teams, basically ever. Like, Ole Miss was a problem for Saban, like, back in 2016 or 15 or whatever. Like, okay, we didn't really lose to anybody back then. The only reason we are now is because, again, new coach, we're not as good. I don't look at Georgia as a Super Bowl. I don't think Georgia really looks at it either. But that's why I'm saying if you want to say that, it should be both. I don't agree with that.
But I think, King Brian, I think we could both agree that Auburn looks at Alabama and Georgia as their Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's fair. Auburn stinks. They suck. Yeah.
Because, like, you know it's going to happen. Like, you know it's going to happen. When we see Auburn have Georgia come their backyard, they're going to play their best
every
game
year.
ever.
Auburn contends with both Bama and Georgia, but then they lose to New Mexico State. Or they lose to Maryland.
Shit, we're going to smack New Mexico State by 6, probably 50 opening day.
Go, Diego, go. Diego Pavia bringing that match. And I remember, like, the week before rivalry week in 2023, I mean, I got kind of clowned by a few people saying that Auburn's going to keep it close. I was hearing, oh, well, New Mexico State beat Auburn. They're not going to keep it close. It's like, here's the thing. Nobody brings their A game against New Mexico State. That's just basic facts.
We would have won by 50, though.
Exactly. I mean, nobody brings their A game against
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
we still probably win by 50.
You are right.
Under Saban, we definitely would have won by 50. Auburn has a focus problem. Auburn does not give a crap when they're playing teams that aren't the rivals or good. And I don't get it. Auburn should show up every night. I even remember, was it last year, the year before last year? I don't remember. They were playing Tennessee or something. It was some team like that. And they were competitive in that game too. You know what I'm talking about, Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because it wasn't a hypo after the game. He was like, yo, like, this is the SEC. Like, every game's tough. I think it was Tennessee. But all I know is it doesn't matter which team. I'm just saying that Auburn shows up for big games. And they play hard, and they typically lose. But when they play bad teams, they don't show up at all. And it's like if they showed the same effort like they did against Alabama the last 2 times in Jordan Hare, against New Mexico State and against Maryland, then they win those games by 50. At least back under Gus Malzahn, they typically did. I know Malzahn's career is kind of tanked since, but like back when he was at Auburn, they typically beat who they were supposed to beat. Typically. I mean, I remember when they played Purdue that year that Purdue had that kid, unfortunately, that had bone cancer. That was so sad.
Yeah.
And they beat them by 50. Auburn won
routed
like
them.
60-7.
Yeah.
Okay, and I felt bad for Purdue because I was actually like, I don't like Purdue much because I'm an Indiana fan as well.
Oh, that was.
But I was actually rooting for Purdue to win because of the kid and Jared Stidham and Auburn just completely
That was
blew the doors off
2018.
them.
That's right.
Yep.
I mean, it's like they played like horse dung against Mississippi
Auburn was
State.
7-5 and Purdue was 6-6.
Yeah, 63-14. That's nuts.
Yeah, the game was murder. I remember that game. I mean, I'll never forget that game specifically because of the kid with bone cancer. He died like 3 days later, and it was so sad. I was like, your last game, watching your favorite team, and they get completely destroyed against Auburn. And like, that is what Auburn used to be. That is gone. A 7-5 Auburn team that goes out there and beats Purdue, a 6-6 team, by 50. Now you see Auburn play Maryland in a bowl game and lose by 21. That's
they
Auburn
played
today.
like horse dung.
That's why I'm like, Gus Malzahn, not the greatest coach ever, but at least Auburn showed up to play.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see that anymore. Hugh Freeze hasn't been able to do it. Brian Harsin hasn't been able to do it. I don't know. I'm sick of seeing Auburn be just complete crap. I'm not an Auburn fan. I'm an Alabama fan forever. But I would like to, at least for Auburn fans' sake, see some consistency over there.
I think Hugh Freeze can get a win total increase for 2025. I think he can. Because, I mean, like, nobody thought we'd see Auburn lose to Missouri. Like, they almost had it against Missouri, but they didn't. They almost had it against Oklahoma, but they didn't. They blew it against Cal on ACC After Dark.
Oh, my gosh, man. Oh, my. That Cal game. Oh, boy.
But,
yeah, Cal's usually the one that chokes. Because you remember the game the year before with Cal Auburn. Cal missed like 4 field goals. You lose to Cal, you know you suck. Because Cal loves to blow games. Cal, that's what Cal does.
They had that running back now at OU in a bag of chips.
Oh man, like they blew it against Oklahoma, blew it against Cal, blew it.
That Oklahoma game was a joke, man. I remember watching that game. That was a laugh.
Played like they played like they had diarrhea.
And again, I got no room this time because we lost to Oklahoma too. Because again, Saban's gone and we're not unbeatable anymore, hardly. But I mean, yeah, like Auburn should have beat Oklahoma. Auburn should have been a lot better last year.
We still are, Coach Smith. We're still online.
That's what I was saying earlier when we started the show, Coach Smook. I'm like, yeah, we were supposed to get off at midnight, and we stayed till 2 a.m. That's what we do.
Well, it's close to 1 a.m. on my end, but it's close.
Yeah, Jackson, you're not even tired over there, man. Like I'm on the East Coast over here.
Yeah, me too. About 2 a.m. But I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna turn it. I really appreciate you guys having me on and taking my call.
Appreciate you for coming on. It's always great having a new caller come on the show. It's always great.
I'll definitely
call him more. Good buddy.
Yes, I'll definitely call him more, and I know where to find you guys and what time and everything.
All right, man.
Sounds great.
Appreciate you guys.
Well, and Coach Smith is right. We're still going, but only for a few more minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we could theoretically probably go another hour or two if we really wanted to. But
oh my God,
nah,
I mean, it has
I'm
to
good.
Be...
I've had enough college football ranting tonight.
Oh man, it's like when Mark the week 3 post game voice college football. He's just like, I'm done.
I'm done. Tim. Good night, Tim. Say goodbye, Tim. I'm done. I mean, that was so awesome for me. I remember watching that, man. I haven't not been able to call in as much over there on the Voice of College Football. I've been so busy. But I love a make more appearances there, I'll always love chatting it with Mark. Mark is awesome. But
Oh,
man, I remember watching that, man, and my eyes got so big. I was like, "Oh, Tim." I miss Tim. I'm not gonna lie, I miss Tim, man. On
right.
the USC channel, I do.
Man.
I know. He's doing great work over on is it
USC LAFB.
Yeah, LAFB. Yeah, he's doing great work over there, man. But when Tim was always calling the Mark, his rants and his debates with Mark were always classic, man.
Oh, that one with Jason Watkins from HOFCFB, the HOFCFB channel. Like, they got in a wild debate over USC Oklahoma at 2 a.m. in the morning at my time zone on the Voice of College Football, and it was about like Lincoln Riley and Brent Venables. I mean,
some of the best rants are at night because you're wired, you're a little bit, you're really tired probably, and you're a little bit crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not probably having these rants at 3 p.m, but heck, we probably would. We're college football fans, but at night though, that's when it gets really spicy. You know, like that's when things that you might not probably say, you start getting a little. You gotta start getting a little crazy. That's what makes it great.
Like, it's like, when you're drunk and, the zipper you have on your secrets, it comes off. It comes off. The buttons are undone.
And then you wake up not knowing what you said, so that's what's crazy. It's insane, man. It's insane. Like, what did I say? And then people are telling you what you said. It's kind of like, you remember that episode or that special of Charlie Brown Jackson, the one where he gets kissed, right? The football game, and he gets kissed by the little red hair girl, right? You remember that? And then the guy literally, like, he gets in this fog, man, where he's like in the heavens. He's like floating through the sky, and all that. And then it cuts to him in bed, right? Like he's asleep. He wakes up and he's like, he don't remember what happened. You know what I'm saying? And then him and Linus are on the bridge, and Linus is like, "Oh, Charlie Brown, you were great. You were dancing with everybody. You're, all that kind of stuff." And then he's like, "What does it matter if I can't remember what I did?" That is so freaking fun. I love that special. That one cracks me up so much, man. I'm like, dude. I mean, literally though, like, when you're drunk, you don't know what you're doing. I will say, I gotta respond to John because he asked earlier about me with IU. I will be probably making a lot of IU content this fall on my channel for sure. Only Talk Sports. Now, I was doing Indiana, the Voice of College Football. I think you tuned into that. I think I remember seeing it in the comment section. Now we've got two other hosts.
Alec and Bradley. We got Alec Kruger and Bradley Loomis.
We got those guys doing, and they're doing great work over on Indiana, the Voice of College Football. I can be involved over there, but like, I've directed my attention to here. And me and Jackson been doing the shows over here, so I haven't been over there. But I'm not going to stop talking Indiana football. It always sprinkles itself in over here too. It's people, always make, they don't let me forget that, especially Steve and Cherry. But I will be talking IU football and basketball on my channel for sure. Only Talk Sports. I think you've been over there as well, so definitely appreciate that if you have. I can't remember though, but Only Talk Sports. I'll definitely be doing Indiana content over there if I'm not doing any more on Indiana Voice of College.
If you've got merch ideas for Only Talk Sports, let me know and I'll send the ideas over to Jeffrey.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I still think one of my favorite phrases of all time was "Don't be a dick by tell." That I always like that. That would be an excellent T-shirt right there. Gotta make that happen. Merch store. Don't be a dick by tell. Now that's not a knock on Dick Vitale because Dick Vitale, love Dick Vitale. Dickie V's awesome, but you know what I'm getting at when I say
it's a nice way of saying don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, so, Jackson says it for me. I try to keep it PG over here.
I'm like his swear word translator. So it's like,
I mean, like, you got like, don't be a dick Vitale, T-shirt, and you'll have like some innuendo on that. You know what it means. So
Oh, yeah.
that would be a great shirt. Like have Dickie V's head on it too. That would be epic, man.
Man, that
would
I
be
think,
the coolest shirt ever. That'd be
I
great.
think DPB would love that, and I think his family would love that for sure. Like, he'd be like, "This is awesome, baby. This is awesome."
Yeah. Don't be a Dick Vitale, but you can be Dickie V.
Yeah.
So it would be cool. It'd be cool. I don't know. Gotta get a
man.
merch store though, man. That merch store for Alabama, the Voice of College Football, and get our channel some merch stores as well. Only
man.
Talk Sports and
There we go.
Jackson Johnson, your channel, Jacksonian. Get
There
some
you
merch
go.
stores going. That'd be crazy.
Oh man. Another one is Mid.
Yeah,
And
Mid. Mid would be a perfect T-shirt.
we gotta find your screenshots of your mad face for sure. Like
have my mad face. Don't be Mid.
Perfect.
There's so many things you can do, man. There's so many things.
Note to self, I need to look back and watch this and just be like, slow it down to 0-2025. We're like, oh, man, this is for everybody listening to it on Amazon, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just slowing it down. Some of you are recovering from a hangover. And then I'm gonna go back, fast. We are fast. Oh,
yeah, that'd be crazy though, man. Gotta get the merch store going eventually. Sure.
I mean, there are some people watching this
definitely
just like hungover, or some people are just like they're just kind of recovering somehow, and their minds are just like, oh my god, yes.
Some people fall asleep, man, to shows like this. They'll turn on a podcast, right? They'll turn on a podcast, and and they'll go to sleep to it. Like, I know people do this, right? Instead of listening to like some ASMR stuff, you just turn on like a sports podcast and just go to sleep to it. And imagine like we just start yelling and screaming like 3 hours in, man, and they'll like just wake up. I mean, that'd be crazy, man.
Oh man, I will say, I mean, Rick and Morty has just gone to crap. Who needs Rick and Morty when you got the Alabama College show Thursday nights from Jeffrey and All He Taught Sports and myself, where we're talking Alabama football with all of you, or at least we try to.
Nobody falls asleep. Well, I take that as a compliment. I mean, technically, you don't want people to fall asleep, right? If you're watching a show, you kind of want people to stay awake. Even if you fall asleep to it, you're still watching it. It still helps the podcaster, or it still helps the YouTuber. You're still watching their stuff or listening to their stuff, but you're not actually listening to it though. You're asleep. So it's like you want people to actually listen to it. So I take that as a compliment. I appreciate that. You don't want anybody to fall asleep. I mean, I'm still awake. If I'm still awake, everybody else, I think they can hang in there with us.
Oh man. Well, I mean, if you really want me to be cussing on the college show, you have to put it in a super chat for me to do it. This way, it's like, hey,
I love when people in the chat was like, they want you to say like their favorite team's like slogan or something, like, or whatever. And it's like, if you want Jackson to stoop that low, like we gotta get a super chat probably.
Yeah.
I'm not one to do that. Like, these shows are free. I'm not into the, like begging people, like people do that. Like, oh, we gotta give. Really appreciate it if you give. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely would appreciate it if you give. But it's a free show.
Yeah.
You don't have to give. But you got, like, if you want Jackson, I'm staying out of it. If you want Jackson to say certain things that you want him to say about your favorite team, yeah, you're probably gonna have to give a little bit. I agree with Jackson on that one. I mean, like nobody wants to say Auburn slogan. We don't do that around here. You want Jackson to say something about a particular bird going to battle. We probably need Jackson. We got a little incentive, but
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, we did. Matter of fact, we talked about a little bit tonight when Alabama Richie was here, and I talked about it with Manny on the Alabama Primetime Live show, and I was subbing in for Brady. So yes, we did talk about our take on the SEC 9-game conference possibility of it and how it could affect the Alabama Tennessee rivalry. Oh, here we go. We got
Oh,
a super
we got
chat
Adam
from
Lamparello with a $20 super chat. Appreciate it, Adam. Can Alabama's defense be good enough to compete for a national title?
3 words, Adam.
Yes.
Yes. Definitely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I knew where you were going with that.
You got
I've
that
known
right.
you for too long, Jackson.
There we go.
So, yeah, definitely. I would say so. Our offense has to be good enough as well. That's something that we'll find out when the season starts. But I think our defense will be definitely of that caliber.
Well, we'll say I appreciate the super chat
Appreciate it.
contribution. And tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Publish about the magic that Adam and Gabe are creating on Rutgers at the Voice College Football on Monday night, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, same time we are. Now, I can tell you this. You want to give Adam Lamparello a follow at Adam Lamparello at Instagram and give him a follow on SC Trojans 97 on X. And I can tell you right now, he's got some great insight in the world of college football.
And
You're
it doesn't
welcome.
matter that he roots for a team like Rutgers, because I know there's some people out there that think you root for a small team and that's problematic or whatever. Like you don't have the like. I've seen people like from big fans say like you're a fan of a small team, like you shouldn't even have like the right to talk crap. You've seen that, Jackson. Like, oh, you don't have any room to talk about the Buckeyes or the Bulldogs because you're a fan of Louisville, you're a fan of Rutgers. Well, for everybody out there, Adam is also a fan of Alabama, so all that's kind of moot point. But Adam also is a Rutgers fan, and he does a fantastic job talking about Rutgers athletics, Rutgers football over at Rutgers Voice of College Football. Rutgers ain't that great, but they are better than they were under Chris Ash, and that's all that matters. And they might be doing some pretty solid things this year. So definitely go check out Adam. He knows his stuff. Fan of Alabama and Rutgers. Definitely talks great stuff about Rutgers. I had to throw that in there, though, because I'm telling you, man, it don't matter who you root for, man. It doesn't mean you don't know what you're talking about or aren't entitled to say anything. Like, come on. You'll have people that are fans of Ohio State or, even our team or Georgia that know nothing about football. And they think, well, I could say whatever I want because I'm a fan of Ohio State or I'm a fan of Georgia. It's like, dude, like you don't even know what you're talking about, man. Like you don't even know what you're talking about, but you think that you're more entitled than this person over here that might be a fan of Louisville, but they know their stuff. They just might happen not to like a team that wins it all every year. I don't know. I just think it's funny.
I know, right?
I don't know. It just cracks me up. Like, whoever you root for does not determine your knowledge of the game. It just doesn't.
Oh, man. I'm looking to see if this is the longest we've ever gone on in the history of the call-in show.
I was wondering if you were going to check that, because we are approaching that. I mean, I'm exhausted. I am, but, I mean, I just have enough. You're welcome, Adam.
Oh, the 16th edition is the longest we've gone on. It's like... Oh my God.
How long were we live then?
3 hours, 44 minutes.
Are we going to make that? Do you want to make that? I mean, I can go. I mean, like I said, I'm tired. Like, I've been really tired.
I'm not going to put you through that, Jeffrey. No worries, man.
But, I'm just saying, like, I'm tired, and like I've been really tired on some of these shows before, but I think I think I could probably make another 20 minutes if you want to. I mean, I don't know.
Well, we'll make this show at least another 3 minutes because we got to tell everybody about the magic that the Voice College Football X account, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok accounts are bringing. As the X account will bring you top-notch discussion, debate, analysis with no off season. And let's see, we're breaking that fourth wall the 16th wall, the 64th wall, the 256th wall, all right here on Alabama Voice College Football. Let's see. Let's see if we make it. Okay, we broke the 4th wall. That's a check. Breaking the 16th wall. That's a check. And let's see. Bingo, we're breaking that 64th wall. Oh my God.
You notice something I just noticed, Jackson? I just know. Have you seen this XP thing on the chat? I have not noticed this before.
What? Oh,
you see this where it says the community leaderboard. I guess it's like the people that write in the chat the most.
I just saw that.
What is this? I've never seen this before in my life. Like, it's got Godfather of the SEC has the most experience. Then it's John. Then it's Burks. Coach Smooks at 5. You're at 6. Like, I'm not even on the leaderboard because I haven't even written anything in the chat.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay.
I'm just gonna write something real quick.
That's all right.
There we go. I got high in the chat. How many experience do I gain for that? Oh, that 25 experience. This is so stupid. I've never noticed it before. I think they just added this, man. I got 25 experience. I wonder if that rolls over to next show. Probably not. It's probably just for each show.
Just for this show. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you know that we broke the 4th wall, the 16th wall, the 16th wall, the 256th wall, and oh my God, I'm not even gonna do that. Like, I'm not even gonna try to see if we're breaking the 256 times 4 wall. Oh
yeah, I think. I mean, math.
1024.
Math is power, as Patrick would say. But at the same time, yeah, like, there's only so much math you can do before it breaks you. You remember that, right? From I Was Stupid. Math is power.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, math helps you in life, that's for sure. But of course, you got the Nebraska College show, the Ohio State College show, Michigan 2026 commit Jalen Pyle. This shows how tired, how a little bit tired I am. Michigan 2026 commit wide receiver Jalen Pyle tuning in for a little bit with TJ Ronan and Johnny Olden Jr. on the Michigan College show on Michigan at the Voice of College Football, bringing that magic. You see Jeffrey and I all right here on Alabama, the Voice of College Football. Mark bringing that magic with Steve Dace from the Steve Dace Show, Blaze TV, and the Michigan Podcast. And let's just say in that show on today, somebody gave a little shout out that we should see Steve Dace go Real Time with Bill Maher, Club Random, and that we should see Mark Rogers go on Stephen A. Smith's show, the Stephen A. Smith Show, and the Paul Feinbaum Show, where the weekends are full of surprises. Won't tell you who it is, but you'll know eventually. But the Thursday live schedule, that's fun. But we got the Friday live schedule coming your way, which is Maryland Live and the College Football Show. 320. Let's see it hit 420, but don't let it hit the 3 sixes. I'm not going to say that full number because some people that are still watching this are like, okay, don't say it at 1 o'clock in the morning. There's going to be bad spirits. But you got the cover. Notre Dame's offense. Wisconsin's offense going into 2025. All right here. The memory of Bill Robertson, Duck Dynasty himself, bringing that magic. And you got the TikTok account. Sean McDonough getting excited over the Michigan State matchup. All right here on the Voice College Football. You won't want to miss it. And I have no idea what happened with Jeffrey. I'm sure he'll be back, but if he's not, that's okay. Like, he'll be back. But of course, next week, you probably won't be seeing Jeff. Well, there he is. There he is. You're back.
I think my internet's tired.
I know, right?
My internet is so tired that it died.
Oh man,
It doesn't want us to go for 3 hours and 45 5 minutes or whatever. It doesn't
Yep.
want us to make it. Yeah, dude, that killing me, man. The hat, dude, and the football. Football's too big. It's usually a youth size football. It hit the ears.
Man.
Dude, this hat is great. Like, it shows you my Alabama pride.
Oh man, I mean, they were crazy going for 3 hours. Oh man, you should see the Michigan show. Like, I mean, they're cool and all, but it's like, oh man, it's so funny. Like we saw them go live once, 12 hours, and then break their own record, 14 hours. That's nuts.
Yeah,
All they,
I mean, I don't know if I could do that. I mean, the thing is, we could do it, but we need a lot of sleep prior to that. Like, you'd have to have a lot of preparation to have a show that's that long, where you probably have, topics to talk about. Like, we have topics here. Like, we've gone for 3.5 hours. We bring up stuff, but it's like you have to have like some like, I don't want to say a script, like at least a loose thing. Like, hey, like, this is what we're gonna be talking about like every hour. You got to have something. I mean, obviously the chat and like the callers, they help that too. But like, you gotta have a lot of sleep. Like, I don't know if because I got a lot of stuff I'm doing. Like, I don't know. To get that much sleep to do a show that long would be tough.
agreed.
It would be tough. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
if something like that was going to be having, there'd be some plans. Like somebody would be taking the first shift, second shift, third shift. Something like that. Like it would be
kind of like how Mark does with the 24-hour stream, where he takes like a break and has someone like covering.
Oh yeah. But before my voice gives out,
I think my voice is still going a little stronger than yours, but I mean, you have done all the advertisements and the promos and that can't wear you out.
well, it's like you gotta make sure to practice. I'm just like practicing, making sure I've got my lines. But it's like, oh man, Jeffrey, what have you got going on in your backyard, good buddy?
Only Talk Sports, my YouTube channel. As a lot of people have let me know, it has been dormant lately, and I will be posting again. Get some time. Got some video ideas coming down the pike. It will happen. There will be more content. It's not a dead channel. It is not like so many other countless YouTube channels that exist that have not had a video posted to it for years. My channel will have videos posted on it again and live streams in the future. But definitely, while we wait, definitely would appreciate the support anyway. If you enjoy watching me and Jackson over here at Alabama, the Voice of College Football, or enjoy listening to my rants, you can get that over at Only Talk Sports as well. And it's a lot of the same stuff over there. Me live with other people. I've been live with Jackson before, Will. So yeah, Husker South subject. I haven't seen nothing. I will be posting more content. I appreciate that, Husker. Thank you. Thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. But I will be posting more stuff. Also, follow me on X. I do try to stay off X, but I do post there pretty frequently. Retweeting our shows. Also, just talking some stuff that's going on in the sports world that I don't really have time to make videos about right now, to get my thoughts out there. What I'm feeling about what's going on in the sports manias every day these days. Like, even the off season, there's always crazy stuff going on. So definitely give me a follow over on X if you want to hear my thoughts over there. Definitely would appreciate it. But most importantly, please subscribe to Alabama, the Voice of College Football, if you're enjoying the show. Even if you're not enjoying the show, we definitely just appreciate a sub anyway. Like, even if you can't stand it, like, it's the worst show you've ever seen, you don't ever watch it again. I definitely hope that would be the case, but still would appreciate a sub anyway. I feel like everybody is probably subscribed to at least one channel you don't like. Like, you can be an Auburn fan. Like, I don't like the Alabama Voice of College Football. They won't say that great Auburn slogan. Would still appreciate a sub anyway. Definitely would appreciate the support. We welcome all. Like, even come on the show. We'll talk. So, the Husker. Husker liked the show, and he's still here. So we appreciate the support, Husker.
Oh man, he came to have his Vantage session. Oh, man. Well, we're here for you, good buddy. We're here for you. Tell your friends, family, cashiers, post about the matches that Jeffrey is creating on Ollie Talk Sports and all right here on Alabama The Voice of College Football. And as for me, you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979, where I'm now 329 subs away from that magic number 1,000 on my personal channel. And I've got some future episodes coming down the pike, all right there on the Jacksonian. And you can check out what I've got planned on Alabama The Voice of College Football and the Jackson on Jackson VOCFB on @/Twitter, Instagram and Threads, Jackson Johnson 543-908, and on Jackson Johnson 97 Blue Sky Social. For those who don't like X or Instagram, you can check me out on Blue Sky. Whereas my friend Mike Debate from Sports Illustrated says where the skies are blue. Some say that the skies are overcast and blue sky, but the skies are black over there. But either way, I've got my takes where I give all of you from Alabama The Voice of College Football. I go over my takes in the world of college football, NFL, and other stuff as well. Going over my takes on what moronic things HBO Max is doing, of course.
And the sky is gray, and the sky is gray. California dream, such a view.
Agreed, man. But yeah, you can check. But also, of course, I've also got my updates on the Jackson, and of course, you can check out my weekly calls on the Paul Feinbaum Show, where the weekends are full of surprises, and you'll hear me shouting out Mason-Dixon Bakery. Hey, what can I say? I care about my city, Huntsville, Alabama. And with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell to Alabama at the Voice of College Football. We are now 7 subs away from 2,600. We are 407 subs away from 3,000. We have got to catch up to Texas at Voice of College Football. Yeah, Texas was the last SEC team in the playoffs, but that doesn't mean that they're better than Bama. We're better than Texas. See, I'm messing up my life.
Yeah, we're better than Bama. Bama is better than Bama. Let's go.
Like, oh man, I think hey, that's a great T-shirt.
Yeah, that's another one, man. We're coming up with more merch store at Alabama Voice of College Football. Bama is better than Bama. Let's go. I mean, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
There we go.
Get my merch store going with Mid and Don't Be a Dick Vitale, and then over here we'll have Bama's better than Bama.
There we go. Or at least we try to.
Hey, the merch store will happen. I'm sure it will.
Oh, it will. I think it should before the end of the year. But of course, but if you don't want to watch us, like you want to watch us, but you also want to hear our lovely voices, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and iHeartRadio. Please leave a rating and a review. And with that being said, we wish you all a good night. Sleep well, stay safe, have a happy Friday. Like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another video or episode of Crimson Tide Live or the Alabama College Show or Primetime Live whatsoever. And we will see you soon. We've got big news coming on the way. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it. And roll Tide.